Because dogs are known for
imagine
watching
that.
TV all the
No, he
time.
does
I mean,
sometimes.
you just can't. Once they learn how to use that remote, it's hard to stop them.
Yeah. I got to check out his internet search history to make sure
Yeah,
he's
fucking
not
for
being
real. There was he
not
moved
being
out.
groomed
He's
online.
moved out now, but there was a guy in the program where I worked that was had his laptop, and before that he was using like a laptop that was from there was a guy the program like they had their own that they let the guys use. And boy, late at night when I'd go out and walk around, there was a couple of occasions where I came around a corner where I don't think he was ready for me yet, and there were some sexy ladies on the street. Nothing pornographic, but definitely some sexy looking ladies in some skimpy little outfits. You know what I mean? Like nothing technically against the rules, but well, you know what? If the other staff had seen it, it probably would have been a big deal. I'm not a fucking child. Like, so I don't give a shit, but you know, because that's one of the things. They had him
Actually,
like
kind of surprising it wasn't porn.
you know, honestly, it was out in the like in the dining room area, so then that's just probably the reason why.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
Like he's not that disrespectful. I don't think he's a pretty decent guy, like a nice guy as far as that goes, and pretty respectful of his like you know that he has like roommate and that kind of thing, and if there are other people that live there, he's not like super rude about any of that shit. So I imagine that was partly because he you know recognizes that that's
Very
inappropriate.
considerate.
Because there are other clients we've had where they just wouldn't understand that that's totally out of line. Because they just don't get social
Yeah.
shit
That you should
sometimes.
be jerking off in the main fucking communal
No,
room.
not necessarily jerking
Right.
off, but just watching
Like,
porn.
hey, do that.
Like they
That
could
girl
put
was
porn
fast.
on and it wouldn't register to them that it's inappropriate
Oh,
to
right.
watch porn. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, well, everybody's an adult, you know.
Right.
But they wouldn't be like jerking off. It's just that they
Yeah.
would be like, yeah, well, I don't see what's the big deal. I want to watch it. The other people don't seem to mind. I was like, well, no, they're being polite because you're fucking doing something weird and they don't understand necessarily how to set that boundary and go, yeah, dude, it's fucking weird that you're watching porn in the middle of the fucking house. But, those types generally don't
what the
understand
fuck
how to
is-
use computers right now.
Okay.
In a few years, it'll start to change over.
That's weird because I pretty much only watch porn to what.
On a phone, right?
Yeah. I kind of don't understand what the point of watching porn is if you're not going to masturbate.
Oh, yeah, I don't either. Yeah, it's not... Well, okay, now, there's an exception. There's like a very specific, very small number of pornographic films that are made to be like movies, where they actually have, like, some sort of storyline and plot, and they're
Like
so
plot and storylines.
fucking terrible that they are
Like the old Emmanuel movie.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, or they'll do like the Grinch That Stole Christmas as a porn,
Yeah.
or like one of the ones I think was really popular was the one that was like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was porn. Like Porn of the Caribbean,
Yeah,
I forget what it was
I got
called.
you.
But yeah, those
Yeah,
can
once
be
in a while I get
fucking
that,
some
yeah.
of those can be funny to be worth watching. I've never really watched anyone other
Yeah.
than the Camp Cuddly Pines Power Tool Massacre, because I didn't know it was porn. Because it sounds like just a really dumb,
Oh yeah, no, I remember you
crappy
sharing that.
horror movie, but then all of a sudden there was some really graphic sex in it, and I was like, oh, never mind. Like, I had
This
that in the
was not
wrong
what I was
folder and did not
expecting.
realize that was porn. It was not my intention to download porn. I was just downloading movies in big batches, and that sounded like one. And it was the storylines were funny. The porn was bad. It's not very good.
Like
But
a really
you
good
could skip
bad
through that and just watch the
movie.
storyline, and it was fucking hilarious. So that was different. Oh man. So like people don't like the Joker.
Biting that.
What
Get
is
out
it
of
like?
there.
I have
Go get the
not.
ball.
seen that much about the Joker. You know what I mean? The new Joker movie.
Oh yeah, the new one.
I haven't seen that much about it, but I assumed it was going to be awful. I just assumed, because when something is good, they ruin the next part.
Oh yeah,
so I'm not surprised there.
The guy that made the first one, I guess he did both of them.
Oh wow.
I guess it's the same director for both, I think.
Okay.
And like he was like angry, somewhat sympathetic character. Like he was pissed about that.
Oh, that people had.
So it appeared. Yeah.
People had somehow, like, what do you call it? Had sympathy for his character that made him upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently,
is he a fucking
10-year-old
that bothers him so much? Jesus fucking Christ! Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. Well, mentally, I would say he probably is. But yeah, and then so the whole fucking movie is essentially, from what I understand,
his attempt to piss everyone off.
His best to wipe out everything that happened in the first one.
Oh,
yeah, and then
so
also, I don't know if you watched the pitch meeting. I don't know if you watched the pitch meeting thing or not, but
no.
yeah, they apparently made it a musical, but didn't bother to fucking let anybody.
It was a musical?
That
Oh, that's an extra special level of dumb.
Like in the
I know I watched Charlie's video on it, and he was talking about songs, and I was like, what do you mean songs? Whatever. And then I just like ignored it. Because I was like, okay, that's weird. Songs, it must be... who knows what that means, right? I didn't understand that meant that they actually had made that... That's funny. That's really fucking bad.
Yeah, no, apparently it's pretty much dude.
Oh, you just started roboting for me pretty badly.
Okay, I know the pitch meeting one, he's like, he asked the producer guy, he's like, so are these songs gonna... Damn it. Oh yeah, I gotta switch over to mobile data. Hold on.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, because I don't know what you were saying there.
I forgot.
Get it.
All right, am I back?
Yep. You have returned.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Apparently, yeah. Like one of the things he's saying, he's like, okay, it's a music. Okay, so are these songs gonna help advance the plot? Or are they gonna be like just kind of filler for the fucking movie for no real reason? And he's like, yes.
Ah, okay. He was
like, okay.
He's very upset about the whole thing. That's too bad. That's such a shame, man.
Yeah, too.
Like most people are like, wow, we found something that the
seriously.
fans connect with. That's so hard to do in Hollywood these days, and to make money off of it too. And he was like, goddamn sons of bitches, like what I made, those motherfuckers. What a fucking whack job, dude.
Right. That's what I said. He went next level with the I hate the audience thing. He's like, not only am I going to fuck up all the shit that happened in the first one, but I'm going to make a musical, and none of you are going to find out until you get in the theater and watch it.
Like, there's a fun way to do that, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like, part of me says, like, it is the Joker. There's like, Enter the Music Man. That would have been fucking... Because isn't there, like, Music Maker or Music Man or something? Who made everybody sing in one of the Batman cartoons? He was like a weird, obscure villain. And that would have been fucking great.
Maybe. Yeah, they did none of that. Apparently they kill him off. Sorry about a spoiler alert, but apparently they killed the Joker off at the end.
No, that's not a spoiler alert. I don't care about spoilers. Spoilers don't ruin films for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
just knowing that something happens doesn't like matter to me. It's like getting to watch it happen. It's going to be different it's going to be new for me either way, you know. So yeah, I don't care about spoilers. And I'd heard that from Charlie's thing too. So yeah, I was very surprised to hear that, where like he gets killed off, and then the guy that kills him cuts a smile into his face.
Yeah, it's some random dude. Like, it's somebody that's, like, just insignificant character, apparently.
Yeah, it wasn't even, like, a non-character of any kind. Yeah, it was, like, I remember hearing that and going, like, wow, that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
What a dumb fucking choice.
Yeah. Well, again, if they're just trying to, it's an odd. I don't understand trying to piss off the audience like that. But again, this guy like went way. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was a like, spread my message kind of thing. It was just literally just a fuck you to the audience.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
sounds
mean?
like
normally
it.
they're wanting to. They're at least it's shitty to try to inject your own bullshit into whatever you're doing there, into an existing IP, but to literally go out of your way to not even bother doing that.
Well,
and just
and
fuck
from
over
what
the
I
fan.
understand, he talked to Nolan. Nolan's the one that did the Batman movies with the Heath Ledger Joker, and had mentioned doing that to the Joker, or doing that to Nolan, and Nolan was like, absolutely not. Like, don't do that.
Don't
And the
do
studios were like,
thing.
don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do that. And so he went and did it anyway.
Well, this guy.
And so it was one of those things
like
where it was like,
yeah,
he just wants to be an asshole, and it's unfortunate, but
So yeah, I thought maybe they're just trying to like, kind of like in The Witcher, they're gonna make Joker secondary character to the fucking Harley Quinn, to the female character. But apparently they didn't even do that.
Oh wow! How boring! What a lame way to treat a character that everybody was actually kind of interested in. And I think people being sympathetic made sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a weird thing that people would be like, oh, here's somebody who feels unseen and unheard and who feels like the world is shitting on him all the time. And he's lashing out in this horrible way. And I think most people would agree, nothing he did was good. Like he did a lot of horrible things. But some of the things he did were okay. Like I don't think it was necessarily wrong when he shot the guy in the subway. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was necessarily the best option that he had available to him. But I don't think it was the worst thing he could have done. You know what I mean? So it was like one of those like, oh yeah, well, I mean, that was not the right choice or the wrong choice, but it was the thing that happened. But then, like, obviously, like, killing the talk show host and all that stuff was pretty evil. Although entertaining from a cinematic perspective. Like, it was very entertaining, but in, like, real life, that would be horrifying and gruesome,
Yeah.
But it's not surprising that people would identify with that character. There's a lot of people that are kind of in that place in their lives right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like I said, whoever the fucking director is, it sounds like just a raving fucking lunatic, dude. Really odd.
Yeah.
Nope, you didn't get the message I wanted you to, so fuck you. I'm gonna undo all the shit that you liked about the first one.
Yeah, that is such a crappy perspective to have.
Yeah, it's bizarre, dude. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, like hating your own audience is sad. It's weird because I was watching those Always Sunny in Philly podcasts, and what was interesting to me is how gracious and thrilled those guys are at every possible turn to receive so much love from their fans, and they 100% return it. Like, they're hugging their fans, they're happy to hear about stuff from them. They're like, oh, you went to the same school as I did, that's so awesome. Like, it's like, whether it's sincere or not, at least they understand, like, where their fucking bread is buttered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't have the same delusional self-entitlement that everyone in Hollywood seems to have. Like, they actually appreciate the fact that people like it and, and love it to the degree that they do.
Yeah, they appreciate their fan base. They recognize, like, hey, this is why I have a job.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently Rachel Zegler is getting worse and worse.
Rachel Zegler?
The same kind of thing. Yeah, the bitch that played Snow White, the half Latina, half
Polish
bitch.
Yeah, where she's just like super like fucking weirdly narcissistic.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So yeah, apparently they're trying some kind of PR shit, but it's not working because she doesn't understand anything.
Understand
Really.
that like shitting on your fan base is bad for your fucking rep?
Yeah, and she's similar to fucking Amanda Stenberg, the bitch from the Acolyte show. Grew up, not poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And act like they're so oppressed. And she's Rachel Zegler is really tired of having to. All her life, she's had to see women torn down. It's been really rough for her.
Which is 100% not true. It's most of the time that's what bothers me is it's all fake. And you know what used to happen is people used to lose their careers over that shit because people would be like, "Oh, you're not really from the street. Oh, well, fuck off. I'm not gonna listen to you do a rap about being from the street. You have no idea what you're talking about." Now they're just like, "Oh no, the TV said it. It must be true. It's on a screen in front of my face."
Yeah, no, they're fucking. Ugh. Yeah, no, she's definitely on the list of I'm not watching anything she's in ever again.
Yeah, if I do watch it, it will be in a way that does not benefit her in any way. That's why I look at it. Like, if something's terrible and it's funny terrible, I might watch it, but I'm not gonna like go to the movie theater and pay the money to make sure she gets a pay cut.
Yeah, did Snow White actually come out yet? I thought it wasn't coming out till like next year, right?
I have no idea when anything comes out anymore. Like, they're not really good at like promoting films.
I was wondering why she's fucking doing shit now. It seems weird.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Let's see what they have the date as. Yeah, well, it's because again, obviously, it was supposed to come out quite a while. Like a couple of years ago at this point, or at least a year ago.
Oh yeah, they had to redo it. Well, now it's like with magical creatures instead of the Seven Dwarves, which is kind of fucking dumb because, like, they weren't midgets in the original story, so it's not like we're making fun of midgets. We're just talking about fictional fucking characters.
Yeah.
It
looks like March of next year is supposed to be the release date. It looks like. But yeah, apparently there's some kind of PR thing that she was trying to somebody's trying to do, and she still can't stop being horrible. So it's obviously not working because she has no grasp of what a horrible person she is.
Well, the thing is, they're never going to get anybody to want to watch the film because they're actively making it in a manner that nobody wants to see.
Yeah, everything she does makes shit worse.
Yeah.
So like she'd almost be better.
Having her in it in the first place is a bad choice on their part from like the perspective of the fan base that might be interested in seeing it. But also just like constantly making decisions to put things in there that no one wants. Like nobody wants Snow White and the random magical creatures. They want Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, and just the fact that like they should have known by the time I don't know when they actually started filming, but whenever it was certainly well into the period of time when you know that just race swapping or gender swapping shit is going to automatically hinder your fucking movie. But they keep fucking doing it.
Oh yeah,
it's bizarre.
Because the fans are just not interested in it. They're like, they recognize that 90% of the time what that means is that the movie's going to be bad and boring and poorly written because it's probably DI hires for the for everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, well, we don't want DEI hires is essentially
and honestly, I don't know if I have no idea if Zegler's a good actress or not. I'm guessing not. But like with Amanda Stenberg, it's pretty obvious she's fucking horrible at acting. So I'm not sure with Zegler if that's the case or not. I'm guessing probably. She's probably not the greatest. I think when she was in the Shazam movie, apparently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like she literally just said, "Oh yeah, no, I took this because I needed the money. I couldn't get work." Like she's saying this on like at a red carpet event for the movie,
Wow.
and thought that was a good thing to fucking. Yeah, no, I don't care about this thing. I just needed money, so and they were willing to pay me to act, and thought that was a good idea.
We all know that's why actors and actresses take the jobs they take. You're just not supposed to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Like she's the first
it's
one.
like a social.
No. Yeah, no, I assume. Yeah, I guess she didn't think everybody knew that, or she was the first one. Like everyone else is taking parts because they love whatever.
Yeah, it's like a. It's a very
Yeah.
blatant social taboo, and people don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to fucking hear it, even if they know it. Yeah, they don't want to hear it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to hear it out loud. Or if you're gonna say it, do it in a way that's entertaining and invites people to like join in the joke of it, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's also
Say
an acceptable
like
thing to do. You can make it into a joke for sure and be like, oh yeah, well I mean they were paying good money, you know, so I took the job.
Yeah.
That's a great way.
Yeah, you can say it jokingly. Yeah, no, her specifically said, no, seriously. Like, she, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't, give it any chance to pretend it was a joke.
Oh,
no,
wow.
seriously, I wasn't getting any parts, and they offered it to me, and they were going to give me money. Like, yeah, she definitely made it very clear. She was not joking. So,
bad
yeah,
decision making on
moron.
her part, for sure. Well,
so
you know
happened.
what? I mean, it is what it is. There's no way to, like, fucking stop these people other than just to not pay them money for stuff. Like, don't get in, don't buy the products. Don't buy the things. Let them fucking twist out there in the wind and, lose their fucking careers and their businesses and stuff. Because, like, whilst it's unlikely that Ubisoft is going to get sold off, there's a chance it could get bought out.
Yeah, by China?
No, it was some other company was talking about doing it, but it's like, they're in a position to have to worry about that because they've made some financially very poor decisions. So it's like, well, of course you're out of money. Like, nobody wants the products you're selling, and you keep doing what your fans aren't interested in paying for. Like, what was the ridiculous fucking, I'm trying to think of what it was, because I don't play the games. Assassin's Creed, I think it is? The Assassin's Creed where, like, wherever they take the game, like, whatever country it's in, each time they, like, follow, like, that country's sort of traditional fighters sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And they decide to go with, what, a black ninja?
Yeah,
in Japan? Yeah, that does seem to be pretty popular. They're like, nope, we found this one example of a black person being in Japan, so they're going to be the main thing.
Weird.
Indeed. Yeah, I remember there was that guy, was it from Norway or somewhere, where they were doing like a period piece movie, and somebody was asking them about whatever. It was like a Scandinavian country.
Yeah.
And it was like in the 1600s or something, and some dumbass like fucking entertainment reporter was like asking why it wasn't more diverse.
Because it's from an era where that just wasn't a thing that was going on. Like,
yeah. Everybody was white, and the worst part is, like, there was some character, I forget what the fuck exactly it was, but they actually did have like a small part of somebody that wasn't white in the movie. So it was, that was part of the historical whatever. So yeah, it was definitely stupid.
Weird. I don't understand the need for artificial diversity.
Yeah, it's
like, it just doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, whatever the best actor is to play that part is going to get that part in most cases. You don't need
Matt Damon.
You know,
Matt Damon got destroyed a few years back for expressing that sentiment, dude.
yeah, and that's really all that matters. And like, if it's a white guy or a Mexican guy or a black guy or an Asian guy or girl or whatever, like it just doesn't, like it shouldn't matter unless you know for a fact somebody didn't get the part because of their race in a way that makes no sense. Because it doesn't make any sense to have like what do you call it, like somebody who's like if you're making a movie about the KKK members, putting a bunch of black and Latino and Asian people in the film just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
That would be fucking dumb. Likewise, if you're making a movie about like Genghis Khan, and it was fucking ridiculous that they did that way back in the day and used fucking John Wayne to play Genghis Khan. Right? Like that's just beyond fucking absurd. It was dumb, and everybody acknowledges that was fucking dumb, and it's one of the worst movies of all time. Even John Wayne, before he passed, knew that was a terrible fucking film. He did it, but he was like, yeah, that's fucking awful. And in fact, ironically, John Wayne is probably one of the people that was responsible for more diversity in films in a lot of the films he was in, because he would insist on getting actual Native Americans to play the Indians.
Right.
And that was like a big deal back in that period of time. Really wasn't a thing that happened all the time, so it was like, as much as they like to shit on him for the Genghis Khan thing, it's like, well, he actually did do some pretty good things for racial equality in filming and stuff. So maybe give the old guy a little break here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole situation is just so sad. Because Snow White, a live action Snow White could have been a lot of fun. Actually, all the live action films they've done had potential, I should say. You know what I mean? Like every one of them had the potential to be like a good movie. And every one of them got ruined by people injecting like their own personal political issues into them instead of just telling good stories. Because I don't want like conservative stories and conservative movies. I want movies that are interesting and good, and that people told a story that they really wanted to tell, in that that was important to them, that meant something to them. Right? That's what you want when you go see a movie, right? I'm assuming I'm not the only one. It's like, but most people, that's what they want. They just want like really compelling, interesting stories told by people that genuinely give a shit about the story they're telling.
Yeah, and the story doesn't really matter to the people that are making them nowadays. The story is
they're just trying to make money. They don't give a shit. Yeah.
Well, they're trying to send their message. I don't even know if they're trying to make money at this point.
Yeah, that's actually that's a really good point. It does seem like they're trying to throw money down a hole. They're not really actively working on anything positive in that respect. Fair.
Yeah, it does not seem like either making money or telling a good story or anywhere on their list of priorities. It's literally just get enough diversity, just fucking a shitload of diversity.
Get all the diversity.
And the story and the movie itself is kind of inconsequential to that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you're right. It's a fair point.
Shit.
It is a fair thing to question. Like, are they even looking at making money at this point? Because it sure seems like they're ready to throw all of their money away.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's gone on this long, dude. I don't know if they think if they just keep at it, they're gonna turn the tide, because it seems like the exact opposite. Like, even the normies have noticed this at this point. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, it's shit we've noticed for fucking what, close to a decade now, probably.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, at
and
this point, even
yeah. I mean,
normies can notice it.
what was it, the David Letterman thing where they were talking, and then the person was like, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you know, CNN. Well, you know, they're always telling the truth or something like that about CNN
Right.
being honest," and the entire audience just starts laughing.
Right.
And they're like, I guess that's a joke now. I didn't think it was. Like, he got mad. Like, you could tell he was upset that they were laughing at him.
Right.
And it was like,
That's crazy.
you know, it should be like CNN, who's known for their integrity. Yeah, you're fucking. Oh, you're not joking. How sad. You know,
That's fucking crazy.
oh, heck, that was so funny because it was just like the biggest moment of getting like absolutely wrecked by your own audience. So fucking
He's
funny.
like, fuck, man. He's like, I wasn't trying to get a laugh, but all right.
And it's like, well,
Guess
then
they're
you shouldn't
not.
say things that are ridiculous that everybody knows aren't
Right.
true. You know.
Yeah.
Oh
So what else
man.
is happening in the world?
I don't know. Honestly, like the hurricane came. I don't know how much damage that's done. I think that's one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see kind of deals.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like two hurricanes, like kind of back to back here, right? Like one
Yeah, it was
came
like a
through and kind of
really
hit.
exceptional set of circumstances. Yeah, it was definitely not like something that people knew was coming.
Yeah, and apparently it's going vastly, like the first one especially, because it hit like areas of like Appalachia that have not been hit like that in recorded fucking history.
Oh
And
wow.
like the news is just ignoring it. Apparently, like there's over like well over 200 people dead counted already. And again, there's very like they're for whatever reason they're usually very delayed in the reporting of those things. So it's probably way more than that. And
Oh
like
wow.
nobody in the media seems to want to handle it. I suppose because it would make you know, FEMA look horrible, and by extension, you know, Biden and Harris. So
Oh
that's
well,
why most of
they
the
were
newspapers
already
are not going
talking
to
some
cover it.
trash on FEMA because they were like, "You're clearly not prepared."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You would think they would have learned from George W. having his buddy, who was previous job was being head of the Arabian Horse Association or whatever, and like, hey, you can run FEMA. That qualifies you to run FEMA. Back when I don't even remember what the fucking disasters were, but yeah, his buddy who ran the National Arabian Horse Association was the guy he made it in charge of fucking FEMA. So
Wow.
you'd think the politicians would know better by now than to fucking be lackadaisical with anything to do with FEMA, but apparently not.
Well, the thing that really makes it sting is like that's our money that they're clearly
Yeah,
not
just
using
throwing
properly.
around.
You know, it's like,
Yeah. So, yep.
and people die because of it. You know, like that's, you know, it's really sad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what between these two hurricanes, the cost of human life is probably going to be uh, pretty goddamn high and mostly unreported
Well,
by the
it can only
mainstream
go unreported
media.
for so long. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to
Mm.
hide that
Yeah,
forever
well,
because
they can
people are going to
still.
notice that there's a lot of less people. They're going to be like, oh, you know what?
Yeah. I guess not unnoticed, but I still don't think the mainstream media is going to bother talking about it.
Oh, because it's Florida and it's not like a Democrat area. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what's really going on right now is they're just saying we want the Republicans to suffer. We don't want them to get like fair treatment when it comes to like disaster relief and stuff.
Yeah.
What makes the whole thing so kind of gross.
Indeed. But yeah, the first one wasn't though. The first one was all kinds of, it's like Tennessee, fucking, like that whole Appalachian area. And they're just like, fuck that. We don't have to deal with any of that. Those people don't matter.
Yep. Those are all conservative areas too, though. Those like outlying rural areas tend to be very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's their fault for not agreeing with the Democrats to start with. That's why, they don't. Nobody should care about them.
Yeah, there's kind of a conspiracy theory going around that like what ends up happening is they try to offer these people money for their land, and the land's not particularly valuable, and they want to fucking scoop all this land up and then fucking
like they did in Hawaii, where they just steal all the land from everybody.
Right. Yeah, and then just develop it by the rich fucks, and do that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Apparently it's a pretty standard thing nowadays for after any disasters like that, is to try to just buy out the people as cheaply as possible and tell them to move somewhere else. And then
they should all just go live somewhere else, except where else are they going to go live? The cost of living everywhere is so high.
Yeah. Yeah, especially nowadays. It's pretty fucked up.
Like, that's a great fantasy that you're living in, but it's not a very good reality of how things work now.
Yeah, especially in that area. Anywhere along Appalachia, that shit's fucking incredibly low value. But it's still, it's where are they going to move to? Anywhere they move is going to be a higher cost of living, almost automatically. So, it's particularly fucked up there. But yeah. Oh, it's kind of like the, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'd heard like in Florida, like the flood insurance shit, they would deliberately fuck up the zones or whatever. Like you have like like a high likelihood of damage zone and less likely, whatever. They would basically for their millionaire and billionaire friends not classify shit that's right on the fucking beach, right on the fucking ocean. They wouldn't classify that as a high danger zone. And then further inland they would jack the prices up for those people. To cover for the fact that they were making it, labeling the billionaire land allegedly less dangerous or whatever, less likely for damage.
Oh, yeah, wow, that is pretty gross.
Yeah, you're like, okay, so the people that can easily afford it, you're going to save them money, and then make all the people that really are going to struggle, they're going to have to pick up the slack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a particularly disgusting thing to do.
Wow. That really is pretty gross. Yeah, that's that is man, if I lost everything because some politician decided to do that, I'd probably kill them.
Yeah, we're talking about probably thousands of dollars a year that's getting foisted off on people that are not nearly as the people that are getting the breaks. Yeah, the people that are getting the breaks are fucking fine. They could easily handle the a proper and a proper amount for the danger or whatever the hazards that their land faces. They can easily afford that fucking price.
Yeah.
But they still are fucking just greed. It's fucking gross, man.
Well, I think the problem is that these people have had no consequences for any of their behavior.
Exactly.
There's been zero consequences for any of these people, and I'm all for the revolution, man. I think a lot of these people just need to be eliminated entirely so that society can be better.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if they somehow manage to get Kamala elected. It's
I
gonna be
mean,
interesting
it's
to
gonna
see the
happen.
fucking
Like,
reaction.
I mean, it is, right? Like, there's no chance in hell that
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
gonna be.
I definitely, I definitely consider it the most likely thing. So it's going to be interesting because people are obviously saying, no, no, Trump's going to win this in a landslide. And like, yeah, no, yeah, if they go by the actual votes, yeah, yeah, that is definitely the most likely thing. But last time he won, and it didn't happen that way. You know what I mean? He still lost. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Like I said,
I
the
think
only thing I
Trump's
can
gonna
hope
win.
is
I
there's
think
going to
Trump's
be.
gonna win a third election, and they're gonna say, no, 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 Kamala really won it because we decided to go and print out like a few 100,000 votes in each state. So
Yeah,
Kamala Harris is the winner, and Trump doesn't get to be president because we don't agree that he should be president. And I think if they don't even
yeah,
have that pretext, they'll probably just try to refuse to hand over the presidency and tie it up in
mm,
court for as long as they can to try to prevent him from taking the power. If it's
yeah,
even like an option for him at that point.
yeah. Because
And
I'm thinking it's going to
that's
have to
just the way
be.
they do things now. Like they don't even try to pretend anymore, and nobody's willing to fight
Yeah.
about it. Nobody's willing to say like, no, that's our we made this choice. You don't get to decide. We made the choice.
Yeah, because I think there was pretty wholesale amount of shenanigans going back to the Trump versus Hillary one, but I think they just massively underestimated how unpopular Hillary was, and they didn't do enough.
Yeah, this one I think they probably are going to be on top of that.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's going to take a
because
lot.
Kamala, like they're trying to pretend that Kamala was ever in the lead of popularity. Like she was never like even close to in the lead of popularity. Like we all know this.
Yeah, she's like all time unpopular like records. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like
Like
there's
nobody
no
seems
way
to
in
like
hell
this
that
bitch.
Trump would have even like it wouldn't even be like a question. Like not even close. And we all know that's the truth. We all know for a fact that there's no way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, nobody likes this bitch. We all know what she's about. Like even the fucking
Yeah.
Democrats
Yeah, we're
understand
all
how
aware.
horrible. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this bitch with more power, actual presidential power. Goddamn, it's fucking scary. Yeah, Hillary's probably the only one that's scarier.
Oh
To
yeah.
actually be Jesus. Hmm. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't fucking shoehorn Hillary into this in her place. To be honest with you, I assume Hillary just decided she didn't want to bother. Because I
Um.
assume if she wanted to, which would be kind of surprising, but she might be like, "Look, I'm making billions anyway off of my Clinton Foundation
I
charity."
think they realized that they didn't do it in the right order at that point.
Yeah,
You know what I
could
mean? I
be.
think it was mostly a case of they were like, we were too late to do it now, so they did it in advance with Biden because they knew like, oh, we're gonna start counting, and if it looks like Trump's gonna win, we'll immediately start enacting getting in the fake votes and everything, and all the votes they printed out put in the system. That's why they
Oh
made up
yeah,
all those
it was
things on
definitely.
election night. In the middle of the night, suddenly they had all these pretend leaks
Yeah,
and other shit,
yeah,
and it was just like so blatant. It was like, oh yeah, no, we know what's going on. Like, yeah, nobody's dumb enough to
yeah,
think
dude.
that.
Fuck, I cannot remember what fucking state it was. Obviously, it was one of the contested battleground states or whatever. But like, they were at a press conference and they were announcing the write-in votes, and they're like, yeah, so there was 607,000 for Biden, and 5,700 for Trump. And like when they said it, everyone in the room started fucking laughing, like it was just a reflex at how fucking absurd it was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so like it's pretty obvious what happened. It wasn't just like, oh, Democrats are way much bigger fans of mail-in balloting than the Republicans. It's like, no, you printed up just enough so it didn't like have them winning by like one vote or 10 vote or like just 1,000. Like you had to make sure it was like a big enough margin so it didn't look like obviously bullshit.
yeah. So that if people would buy it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, obviously the smaller the margin, the more askance you're gonna look at that kind of shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the whole thing was a joke. I mean, it was just such blatant
Dude, it's bad.
bullshit. It was just like, come on now. Like, we all know you're lying. And everybody just rolled over and took it, which was sad. I thought there might be a chance that the courts would resolve it in Trump's favor, but then the Supreme Court decided to fuck him.
Punt it. Punt it back to the states. Isn't that what happened?
They decided to not take the case. They were like, "Oh, there's no case here," even though there was very obviously a case there. Like it was like they decided to disregard the law because they know that at the end of the day, like they were on the block too. And now you see like fucking Democrats actually making moves to try to eliminate the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Which is
that's definitely terrifying.
Scary as hell. Like people should be terrified of that one.
Yeah, it's tough to see again a non-violent way out of this, dude. But when you remove those possibilities,
yeah, if you take away all the non-violent options, like what else is left?
Yeah,
if people
like
can't
I said,
peaceably transfer power to the people that they vote for, then they will violently do it sooner or later. May not necessarily be this time around, but it will be sooner or later. It will happen. Like it's only a matter of time. History is pretty clear on how that shit plays out in the long run.
Yeah, it's like I said. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing. I hope so. But it's really
maybe we're wrong, and maybe this time they actually allow Trump to win the way the way he won, like actually win when he wins. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna.
Yeah. I'm wondering why they don't
the election this time around. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping, that they're just punting on this, and they're like, we don't care about Kamala, we don't like her either, so we're gonna let her lose and
they'll just do everything they can to try to like win Montana to prevent the Republicans from having the presidency and the Senate.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they're just going to do mostly what they did when Trump was president before, and just refuse to do anything he
says.
Yeah.
They just like a lot of the thing that blew my mind with a lot of that stuff was the fact that they would just literally blatantly ignore the law entirely.
Yeah.
And that there was no way to make them like follow the law, like apparently because Republicans just refuse to do anything with these like blatant disregards.
Like, well, we don't want to be called racist, so we're gonna just do nothing and let them fuck everything up and do all this illegal shit, or just ignore the fucking laws and ignore the judgments from the judicial branch.
Yeah.
And the judicial branch will ignore the fucking law that they're supposed to be upholding.
Yeah, that was just so sad. It was just like, come on, man, like.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking disgusting when the what they call legislating from the bench. I'm gonna. Well, this is what I think it should be.
Disregard for the people, like we're supposed to be the final say in power in this country, and like who's in charge and what what the laws are and everything like that. It's supposed to be us.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. No. It's. Yeah. Fuck, man.
When they completely disregard those things, they're not disregarding just the law, they're disregarding the will of the people entirely.
Yeah.
So it's more than just legislating the bench. They're saying, you, the people who normally should and would make these decisions, just don't get the choice. We're not going to let you do that because we don't think you're smart enough.
Yeah, no, they're very distrustful of the democratic process. Because they think people are idiots. And overall, the public is pretty fucking stupid. But yeah, to just disregard.
There are some really fucking dumb people in the world. That is true. I mean, I can't argue that. There's.
Yeah. It seems like there definitely. Yeah. Well, again, it's dumb and also like either just woefully ignorant and uninformed or misinformed. Like it's a shitty kind of like all those things have increased. It seems like in my lifetime certainly.
Well, it seems like the average attacks on the educational system the number of attacks on the educational system, which is what I think brings about a lot of these really stupid people you run into, because they're just not being educated. Like there's a lot of people that just don't understand basic concepts.
Yeah, they don't understand how the system's supposed to work. They don't understand the branches of government. They don't understand, how they're supposed to be essentially checks and balances against each other. Like they have no concept of how it's supposed to work, and how if it's applied correctly, it's a pretty good fucking system. Except when those again, any of those branches start operating outside of how they're supposed to, it's a big fucking deal. It's a real fucking problem.
Yeah. It is seriously concerning.
But yeah, it's definitely a lack of accountability, lack of consequences. Yeah, they do not.
The ruling class has created. What do you call it? Created such a weirdly a weirdly fucked up system that they can just do whatever the fuck they want, and there's never any sort of like, oh hey, now you're going to jail kind of thing, or prison. Like they never go to jail, they never go to prison. That's why it'll be so interesting to see what happens with that girl in the super mayor, whatever her name is.
Oh yeah, Tiffany Henyard.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that, because is she gonna go to prison? She should. She's broken a lot of laws like consistently.
Yeah, hers is insane, dude, because it's so fucking over the top. Like the corruption and the fucking all that shit, so fucking over the top, dude. It feels like it should have happened already. But yeah, even now, even as blatantly obvious as it is how corrupt that bitch is and how crazy the amounts of fucking money she's stolen, I still am going to be surprised if she fucking ends up going to jail.
Yeah, it'll be stunning if she goes to jail.
Yeah, and that definitely should not be the case. It should be such a fucking, it should be just a foregone conclusion that bitch is going to jail.
Yeah.
But it's not.
They are stopping her. As far as I know, they're stopping her from, what do you call it?
Wasting any more money?
Yeah. They're taking away her access to the money, I think.
Yeah, they took the assets from the money, and then she would credit cards to pay shit that should have been paid with the money. Yeah, it's a bunch of crazy shit, dude. So I think they took the credit card shit from her too, but maybe not. I can't remember. Hard to keep all of it straight. There's so much crazy shit going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of checked out of that story because they're just so hyper focused on it all the time that it got to the point where it was like, all right, cool, but I don't need to know every tiny little thing that happens. Like, she painted her nails pink yesterday. What the fuck does that mean? I don't care.
Yeah, well, again, there's like weekly meetings or whatever, or maybe every couple weeks, whatever it is. But yeah, I watched them at first, but like they're all the same now. So now I'm just like, dude, just let me know what the fuck happens. Let me know how shit turns out, because it's just more of the same. Every fucking meeting. She'll have a few plans to come in to talk about what a wonderful job she's doing at the public speaky part, and there will be the real people that are, telling her fucking how horrible she is.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing. It really is funny, dude, to have them like, why are you bothering having people come in and say she's doing a good job? Like nobody believes that.
Oh yeah,
No
everybody
matter how many
realizes
people
that
you pay.
everything she's done has been awful. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah. So it
question.
seems pointless. Like, oh, okay, so you benefited somehow, whether it was now or earlier or whatever. Any of you people shilling for this bitch have quite obviously benefiting right now, like they paid you, or you had it passed and you feel like you owe it to her. But yeah, nobody thinks she's not incredibly fucking corrupt.
Oh well, I mean that's what they want in their candidates. They want that level of absolute corruption.
Yeah, no, it is pretty amazing how much she's squeezed out of such a tiny, not particularly prosperous town. Like, there's not a lot of people that live there. The people that live there don't make it, are living almost like barely above poverty, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's a fucking super wealthy town or township or whatever. And she's managed to get insane amounts of money. Like, you know what I mean? I think it was, I think like $1 million surplus somehow. And then she came in, and within like a couple of years, they're like fucking several $1 million in the hole.
Weird.
Yeah. So yeah, I was always wondering, like, how the fuck did she get this much out? Really, just credit card debt?
I'm not sure. I think it was also embezzling funds, because there was a lot
Yeah,
of stuff that
yeah,
was supposed to get paid that the money just never went to go pay. So she just took
yeah,
money and spent it on whatever the fuck she felt like.
yeah, yeah. That was part of the credit card thing too. Like, instead of using the actual money, they pocketed the money and then used like credit cards to pay a bunch of shit. Yeah, so that was definitely part of it, though not everything, I'm sure, but definitely a good chunk of it. Forging people's signatures, because there used to have to be like two people signing off on a bunch of shit, and they just stole the second person's like signature stamp thing
Yeah.
and using it without her knowledge. Yeah, that kind of crazy shit.
Yeah, the whole thing is really fucking weird. All I know is
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the long run. And does she
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
go to
Does she
jail?
actually?
Does she actually get
Yeah.
punished? Oh, did you see what's going on in your little area, Saudi Arabia?
So I didn't watch the video, dude, but I
So
meant
the
to, and I
deal
did.
is Saudi Arabia made it illegal um, to grow alfalfa because they took so much of their groundwater that they're almost completely out of groundwater.
Wow.
Right? So like, and that's where they get most of their water is from, underground, because they're, in the fucking desert. So
Right,
they went
right.
to Arizona and just started digging way below where they're supposed to be digging and just taking all the water.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I know, like, because we've had like California and other places tried to steal like the Colorado River water, and like that's always been Arizona's, like exclusively Arizona's, because it's a fucking desert and there's not a whole lot of fucking water. So I know that's been messed with for fucking decades. Like California and other places around have been trying to fucking fuck with the Colorado River water. But yeah, that's a new one. They're literally like, no, we're gonna buy Arizona and go way the fuck down and steal their fucking water. Yeah, that's fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
again pushing our
Arizona's
surprise.
fine.
Yo.
Welcome,
Hey,
Samaj.
talk about thieving, are ya?
Oh yeah, yeah. So the Saudi Arabia has gone over to Arizona and started taking massive, massive amounts of groundwater, way more than they're supposed to be taking,
I'm not
because they
surprised.
used up all their own growing alfalfa before they made it illegal to grow it there, and so they're doing it in Arizona now. And it's a real problem because they're sucking all the the aquifers dry, so no one else gets water.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about Americans. We should not be allowing other countries to own property in our country anyway. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, certainly not to that fucking level where they're gonna be able to pull shit off like that. It's fucked up.
But they probably also know that Trump might be coming in with making some changes to all that, so they have to get out what they can
Oh yeah.
while they still can. I mean, provided that he survives that long.
Well, provided they don't just rig the election, which is what I think is going to happen.
I think they're going to try. I don't think they can get away with it like they did last time, just because the amount of people who are like kind of like pro-Trump.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I don't think you're right, but I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Well,
I am not optimistic, but that would be great.
Well, I mean, like they're going to try, obviously, because they got nothing else. But at the same time, it's like, even if you try, no one's going to believe you. It's the kind of thing, it's like the consequences of doing something like that. Even if they do get away with it, I don't know if they will. I think, like, maybe, like, even if they do and things go to shit, I don't even know I don't even want to fathom what could possibly happen.
Oh, I think states will start seceding.
That could happen, and
I think it's a very good chance of civil war, or getting really, really close to it, if not actually having it.
Well, yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think other people have done, like, theories and played games on what could happen, because it's right now it's just speculation, because it's like what could happen, what will happen. I don't know. And a lot of this I don't want to speculate online, unfortunately, but I think other people have played games before. Like what could happen. Probably, if they're smart, they're not doing it over Discord.
Oh, yeah. People who actually know what's going on and are much more powerful than we will ever be.
Well, I
think... Was that Discord thing, was that a reference to something? I assume it was.
Well, it's just that...
Doing it over Discord?
Yeah, well, no, it's just... Well, sort of. I mean, the thing is that Discord is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft is kind of keen on monitoring everything, so even though there might not be an actual person listening, there are AIs in every Discord group, chat, and everything. There's always going to be an AI listening to everything. This conversation is being monitored.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
I thought we were talking about, because there's been a lot of cases recently of people not realizing that they're being recorded in like conversations.
Yeah, that's it.
There's probably one person in any group. If you're having any kind of group conversation, at least one of the people in there is probably recording it. If not, beyond Microsoft and the AI and all that shit.
Well, Microsoft is recording as well, is what I'm getting at here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, there is, and not only that, like, just having political conversations like what we have is setting off the machine. So it's like, we cannot have this conversation. It is we've literally, just having it has turned the machine on, and now, more than likely some AI that Microsoft is listening.
Good for that, man. Yeah. Good for that AI. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, I certainly
I'm not
hope
saying
not.
anything illegal, and I don't give a shit what they can record all the fuck they want. I don't care.
Well, it's not a matter of it, like,
kiss my ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, well,
yeah. The fact that it's happening without being officially acknowledged.
Well, I think the fact that it's even my fault for even bringing this up, but because they know there are a lot of people having conversations like this all the time, and sometimes what they'll do is they'll just, because I don't trust cops, but they'll send them off to your house and knock on your door saying, "We know that you had a conversation on a live stream," and bullshit like that.
Good.
It's just to intimidate you.
Show up to my door and I'll unleash the fucking vocabulary that they'll definitely not want to hear. Like, it'll just be me swearing at them. I don't really give a shit. Like, they're not. Nothing I'm doing or saying is illegal. Nothing. They have nothing to say about it, so I don't really care.
Exactly. Okay.
If I exercise my right to free speech and some fucking piece of shit cop wants to come here and try to bully me, that'd be the last fucking choice they want to make.
You even still have that in your neck of the woods?
I can say whatever the fuck I want. They can arrest me. If they want to arrest me, that's fine. I'll be rich.
I mean,
Because long term, I'm going to fucking
sure.
win. I'm going to get a lot of fucking money out of them if they arrest me for that shit. I have freedom of speech, and it's guaranteed by the Constitution. And if they don't like it, too fucking bad.
Yeah, but then again, we were.
What
just
else am I
talking
doing with
about,
my fucking time? You know, like if they want to put me in prison for a while, all right, whatever. I'm not doing anything with my time anyway.
Yeah,
and all I get was
we
really
also
nice.
shortly, not that long ago, we're talking about how corrupt the judicial branch has become. That should be what happens. What you're describing. I don't know that I have faith in it actually happening anymore.
Oh yeah, sooner or later. The problem is right now is what happens is people end up in prison for a long time, while the government avoids the lawsuit, and then but eventually they do win, and that just means they get more money at the end of the day. So it's like, I mean, it just depends on your point of view. I would consider it an investment in my future.
Well,
Although I don't know, any of the J6 people, did they really deserve to be prosecuted to the extent, you know?
I would absolutely agree that they didn't deserve it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like, they could make that look like a crime. When you're talking about listening in on Discord, nothing we said is criminal, so it doesn't really matter. Like, you can actually say, man, I hope there's a revolution, and I hope they take out all the evil people and put them up against the wall and shoot them. What you can't say is, I think people should do it, because I don't think people should. I think that would be awful. I hope it doesn't happen. But it's perfectly legal to say, it's perfectly legal to say that. Like, there's nothing illegal about that. It's been in courts and decided many times.
Well, what I'm getting at,
even if we were calling for it, even then, we don't have the power to pull it off because we have no fucking audience.
Yeah, nobody's listening.
You know what I mean? It has to be. Yeah, that's again another aspect of that fucking legal requirement is you have to fucking say that kind of shit, and there has to be a realistic possibility of anybody listening to you and doing it.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of feasible way of pulling it off. It can't just be like an empty threat. Like, I don't own a gun, so if I was saying I'm going to shoot somebody, like, it wouldn't matter because obviously I don't have a gun. I can't shoot somebody, so...
Yeah, so if we directly called for a revolution, even that's not going to get us in trouble because, again, nobody's fucking listening.
Yeah. You're hoping... So what else is going on?
Although what I hope right now is that the people in Florida are all right. I think, honestly, like, more than anything else right now, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people in, like, Florida, like, Carolinas, and where are you saying, like, Tennessee, too?
Yeah, like the whole Appalachian region, dude. Tennessee.
Yeah, like that hurricane seems to have done a lot of really devastating damage, and I really hope that people aren't, like,
the death tolls are going to be insanely high. And it is
that's
fucking crazy that the mainstream media is not talking about how bad that shit is.
Gaming seems to be fine, at least. That was I saw that in his Discord. He was making fun of people.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's mostly like the Tampa. I think that somebody I was watching, like Russell Brand was talking about it, and like, you're in Miami, dude. You're fucking nowhere near it. You're getting a little rain.
Yeah, I think that was what most people got. But I have some friends in the karaoke group that live in Florida, so I'm hoping that they're doing okay. I know their power has gone out because they weren't able to get on anything like for a while recently. So, but other than that, like, I'm hoping like their houses aren't like torn down or anything.
Yeah, it sounds like everything's going pretty all right, and gaming's area, but. And some parts of Florida, it got pretty hammered.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
it's more like the northern parts, like Tampa, Sarasota, apparently got hit pretty hard. Yeah, it's up there, Panhandle areas, pretty rough apparently, but yeah, it's like the more central and northern areas but yeah, like down south by like Miami and all that, they're fine.
Yeah.
Actually, that kind of reminds me. I was thinking about it the other day. I remember back, probably early '90s, maybe. The whole global warming slash climate change thing. I remember hearing about how Miami was going to be underwater in 2020. Well, so like 35, 40 years ago, they were saying like, yeah, this one, like Miami, New Orleans, all these places are going to be completely underwater by 2020, in like 30 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, nowadays, I'm like, okay. No, I don't doubt we're affecting the environment, but you guys seem to be going over the top with the severity.
See, I remember
that you're
the whole
doing.
when the whole global warming thing. Like after a while, I started looking into it. So I remember when I was a kid, the big scare that was going on there was the hole in the ozone layer.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, you guys remember that? The whole
Oh,
hole
yeah.
in the ozone layer, and then eventually, like scientists debunked that whole thing because it's like it's literally impossible because it's like a giant membrane. It's like it's all one thing, and if there's an actual hole in there, it would change things up, and also it's just not possible for there to be a hole. So when that got debunked, then they stopped that, and then it was greenhouse gases. I thought, oh, greenhouse gases. How does that work out from all the things and all that? And then, like, that ended up getting debunked as well because it's like, that's not how the ecosystem works. There can't be a greenhouse gas effect, at least as it was being described. And then it went up to global warming. It's global warming. It's like,
Well,
well,
it's like the climate has changed throughout history all the time. Like that's not a new
Yeah.
a new thing, and it's not necessarily something that we can control or are even contributing to.
Yeah,
Well,
we're contributing to it to some extent. I just don't think it's anywhere near the alarmist levels.
Well, no,
Well,
I'm saying is like our contributions may not matter. You're right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that whatever we're doing is minute compared to just normal natural progression.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
it
the
was
gigantic planet we live on. Yeah.
it was the global warming thing that was going on back in 2008. That's when it was going on. I think that it was that, and a lot of people. It was kind of trendy to debunk this stuff because a lot of people were doing it, and it was NASA. I remember because they were the most popular ones, and they were the ones who were actually debunking that as well, explaining that the reason why we have these hot and cold seasons throughout history is that the Earth will sometimes get closer to the sun and then further away. And when we get further away, those are our ice ages, and we get closer, those are our warming periods. And even at that, it's like and NASA had at that time had said it's actually the ice ages you should be more scared of because when and if those events happen, they last longer than the global warming. The global warming that occurs might happen for like a year, maybe two, but an ice age could last for decades, and it could literally wipe out the vast majority of the planet. That's more scary than the global warming. And on top of all that, we've developed things like air conditioners, and we have a great system here to get water and food and methods to get people what they need. Even if we were to get into the global warming stuff that they talk about, we're going to be fine. We literally have the technology to survive it. It's not a big deal. But the ice age is less. You're less likely to survive that because if that lasts a long time, your crop season will be really, really poor. How you going to feed yourself, that kind of thing. But also, it's like our houses. We've changed how we make houses that they're not as they wouldn't survive an ice age like that. It would be really bad. The snowfall would be huge. People would be buried alive. Like you literally wouldn't be able to get out of your house. An ice age would be worse. But even that's also not very likely either, because I mean, even if the world is warming, that's technically a good thing. So
yeah, I remember they switched over from calling shit global warming to just saying climate change, and then they're like, well, yeah, no, it's going to be more extreme weather events either way. So now they can claim anytime.
Oh yeah, well, global warming has been going on since like the 60s or 70s. That's been like the cry of the environmentalists.
Yeah, But then the super cold shit would happen places, and they're like, "Oh, we got to switch it up. We got to just call it climate change." And then any extreme weather events, we're going to claim it's because of man-made something.
Yeah.
Well, and
Because extreme weather events are going to happen because it's the nature of fucking weather. So
Yeah.
they just made it pretty brilliant, I suppose, if you want to give that to them.
Well,
You know, now we can just, anytime there's a serious weather event, we can claim it's because of man-made climate change shit.
well, climate change is a little harder to debunk because, like I said, like the climate's always changing. One of which is like, see, like winter happens and summer happens. That's literally a climate change. And then it's like, how do you measure? That's the real kicker in there. But I was going to say, back in 2008 when NASA had done that stuff, apparently Obama, which I believe, he was the one in charge of that, wasn't too happy with that, and he lowered the funding to NASA. And so NASA,
shut the fuck up.
they shut the fuck up and they changed their tune, but they, still never recovered, and like funding for NASA has never really gone back. Even when Trump was in charge, like Trump was talking about Space Force and stuff, that was like going to be like a separate group, I think, or a separate thing. He was going to talk about funding. So NASA's never really recovered, and in that time, it's allowed other countries to catch up. Because I don't know if you heard, but China's boasting about how they have their satellite, which a lot of it's fake, but some of it's real. I'm guessing, but China's boasting about how they now have a satellite. They now have more time in space and all that. They have more astronauts and all that, and they've been able to catch up. I mean, India's been talking about doing a similar thing, and I forget who else was. I think Russia's getting more involved in space. So it's like Obama handicapped the United States. It went from being like dominance in space to now other people are catching up. And so now, like from what I've heard, like China's talking about setting up a base on the moon. Good luck with that, but that's the kind of shit they're talking about. And it's the fact of Obama doing that bullshit of retaliation. That's what gave him the opportunity.
I mean, I'm just. Do you know how horrible, as a military stronghold, that would be?
Yep.
That would be such a good idea if China decided to try for us. It would be so good for us if China decided to try to build a base on the moon. Because it would fucking bankrupt them for no military gain whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why America never tried building a base on the moon, because I think feasibly there's no point.
Literally every night you could send, if you were the government that wanted to take out whatever other government's base on the moon, you could just fire missiles every single night. Every fucking night you could just send a barrage of fucking missiles that there's nothing they could do about. You know what I mean? It would just be there's no way they could stop if you just started launching missiles at the base every night. Sooner or later the base would just get demolished.
I don't know, Brianna Wu's moon rocks argument's pretty convincing, dude.
Well, that they're going to launch moonstones at everyone?
Yeah. That was a big thing from, Brianna Wu's fucking insane mind.
And the thing is, if you were going to use a base on the moon to attack somebody on the Earth, you would want to make sure that you did it in a way that they were completely demolished before they had a chance to retaliate, because any retaliation would just demolish you so badly. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Oh, sorry. I was watching something on here.
Because you have so much more resources on the Earth, it's not like it would even be that difficult. Any first world country and a lot of third world countries that we consider third world could probably launch missiles into space.
Yeah, unless they're going to maybe make something on the far side, maybe. But even then, that's going to limit them too. So yeah.
I guess from a surveillance perspective, you could get a lot of really good intelligence that way, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just having something in orbit way closer would probably be much more efficient, though, right?
Well, yeah, but if you had something that big, one of the benefits you would have is you could put so much more advanced and larger cameras and stuff like that, more effective material, physical materials.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Such a weird
Such a-
idea. Why would you
It's-
want a base on the moon? I don't understand.
I think just to
Yeah.
flex and say that you can do it.
Like, if there were resources, if there's like a lot of like metal or precious like minerals or something.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of H3 or whatever the fuck they call it. Or that would be apparently is super efficient. So if they can mine that shit, what the fuck is the name of it? God damn it!
Helium?
Not the podcast. Not Ethan Klein. Yeah, it's like but it's like H3. It's not the normal helium.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like got an extra proton or neutron or something.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. What is it called? I guess it is just called helium-3. Sorry, He3. I guess it would be. H3 would be hydrogen. So yeah, helium-3, non-radioactive isotope, believed to be more abundant on the moon than on Earth. So yeah, over a billion solar wind, there's basically deposited this shit of it, load of it there. So yeah, let's see. It's listing nuclear fusion, medical imaging, neutron. Okay, I don't care about the other shit there. But yeah, apparently it's like a really good energy source of some kind. And there's a ton of it on the moon. So I guess that could be it.
I mean,
But it's still not
possibly.
feasible because we're not doing it yet. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we would.
Well, I would imagine
was,
the difficulty with any sort of resources on the moon is being able to transport them effectively from the moon back to Earth.
Yeah, it's a quarter of a million miles away, right? Roughly.
Well, I mean, all the fuel and everything, and you don't want it to crash because then whatever you got is spread out all over the place.
Yeah, I think feasibly there's just no real good reason to go, especially when we have all these resources here on Earth. It's like
it's still not financially viable.
Yeah, there's no good reason to go to the Earth or go to the moon. Stay the fuck off the moon. Also, the moon's such a weird place. It's probably best not to go there, anyways.
Oh my god! Do you remember when Pepsi was talking about putting their fucking emblem up there?
I do not, but that's not surprising.
It was like legitimately. It was like Pepsi was like, yeah, we want to put our emblem on the moon. We want to like scratch it into the surface or some shit so people can see it from the Earth.
That's some super.
They watch Hancock. They watch
and
Hancock.
everybody was like, motherfucker, what?
Yeah, I watched that episode of The Tick as well. I saw that. What was his name? Chairface Chippendale.
You know what I'm talking about. You guys have seen Hancock, yes?
Yeah, Hancock. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he did the Heart Smart logo or whatever on the for.
Oh yeah. God damn.
Yeah.
That would have been it was just one of those things where you were like, you look at it and you're like, wow. I don't know who thought that was a good plan, but clearly they have not spent any time running that by anyone else because everybody on the planet is going like, no, that's a terrible. Why would you say that even? Like,
why would you even put that? I can understand you saying it in a boardroom.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of thing like you say in a boardroom, but you don't actually.
Yeah, having that released to the public as an idea is fucking insane.
Yeah, you don't propose it to the public at large and expect the public to not be like, fuck you? Like...
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It was fairly entertaining.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, it was like a thing. Because people were genuinely concerned that they were going to somehow pull it off. They were like, oh shit, they're going to fucking build that on there. It's going to look so gross every time you look at the moon. And I think what happened was somebody somewhere along the way finally got through and managed to talk to the executives and be like, hey, so if you do this, not only will you be hated, but people will be reminded of why they hate you. every single night, and your business is going to go broke, you will have no fucking company anymore. Like, you will just stop making money altogether because no one's going to buy your products ever again. I don't know why you thought this was okay, but like...
Yeah, that is absolutely nuts. Yeah, that would be something like you do some kind of weird A/B testing where you leak that that's a possibility, and then when you have a horrible bad reaction to it, you'll be like, no, that was false. All that was false.
Yeah,
We'd never think of doing that.
It sounds to me like it's viral marketing, because I don't think they were ever going to do that, because I think they knew that it was just not feasible.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they knew it was not feasible and had no intentions of ever doing it in the first place. It was just funny that they thought it was even, like, a good idea to mention. You know what I mean? Like, even throwing it out there was just such a dumb fucking idea.
Yeah, it really is wild that got out to anyone in the... That is fucking wild.
Because can you imagine, like, an easier way to destroy a business? It just doesn't, like, I don't know. I don't know that there is an easier way to get rid of your own business.
Yeah, put your logo on the fucking moon. Damn.
Or, here's the thing. Alternatively, I do think you could get away with putting your emblem on the moon or whatever like that if you just did it and didn't mention it beforehand. I think you'd have a much better chance of being able to, like, survive that as a company, like, than asking for permission in advance. Like, just doing it without anybody knowing, and then suddenly one night it's up there.
Yeah. Although, I don't know, I feel like any established company would catch too much shit for doing it, so it would almost have to be like some little company
just saying
that couldn't afford to do it.
You're
you know
saying
what I mean? Like, yeah, I could see it being beneficial for a company that nobody knows. But then how are you going to have the money to pull it off?
You're saying take the teenager approach, where it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Yeah, I think that would be the best chance of pulling it off. I don't think it would necessarily work either way. I'm just saying, like, you'd be better off if you didn't tell people first. But even then, I think it would be ultimately a terrible mistake, long run. I don't think it would work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22. Like, any established company that could actually possibly pull it off is going to be harmed by it more than helped. And anybody that might be helped by it is not going to have the money to do it.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
Not going to have the capability to do it, yeah.
But it was a hilarious idea that somebody somewhere was just like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And they were like, fucking great idea, buddy.
Yeah, you do that. I'm sure Coke was a big fan of that one.
Yeah, Coke probably had a couple people on the board when they came up with that idea. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nice. Yeah, a couple moles in the... Hey, let's try this, guys.
Hey, guys, you know that moon is round, just like your Pepsi logo.
Oh, that's fucking amazing. They could do like a tiny one that you could see with a super powerful telescope. That'd probably go over fine. That nobody could really see. Thus defeating the purpose.
Oh, yeah. I think they started talking after, like, putting it directly on the moon about projecting it up there, and then it just fizzled out and died because nobody wants to see a logo on the moon, like, at all. Like, it doesn't matter, like, how it's there or if it's temporary or only during certain hours, just nobody wants to see it.
Yeah, there's no advantage to it. Certainly not in relation to whatever benefit you might get for doing it.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that was just like, nah, it was never ever going to work out, but it was pretty funny that they thought it was.
I am really glad that they put it out. I am really glad that made it to the public and the media and all that. That's really fucking funny.
Oh, that it got out, like that everybody heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, I am really glad that happened. Because it's really fucking funny.
Man. Let's see. What else is going on in the news?
Yes.
Canada's a laughing stock.
Oh, what's going on in Canada?
God, so much has happened. It's kind of weird. Criminal investigations are going in on Justin Trudeau. multiple criminal investigations, I might say, because it turns out in this little attempt to be all green and good for the environment, we have all these different plans and stuff. So what ended up happening is there was like $400 million were going to go to these companies, these contracts, but then the money was shifted back and forth between multiple different companies, and eventually finding its way into certain companies that are owned by liberal insiders. That means people of the Liberal Party essentially gave themselves,
billions of dollars of money
hundreds,
to do
hundreds
nothing.
hundreds of millions of dollars to do nothing. The responsibility we're going to go to these other companies that no longer exist. They just sort of disappeared, and so now we're trying to figure out, okay, well, who are these companies that got all this money? And of course, the Liberal Party says, that's if we give out this information to because the Conservatives want it to go to the police, said to the RCMP because this is criminal investigations. And what the Liberals did is they said, we gave them the information. Yeah, you gave them all the papers, but it's all redacted in black ink.
Oh,
So-
yeah, the old redaction deal. Yeah, that was a lot when you're dealing with government stealing.
Exactly, and so they just keep giving up black ink after black ink. And this isn't the first time it's happened. The last time it happened, they're still being investigated, so that's been going on for quite some time. And right, because here in Canada we have a passive-aggressive system where the two sides or the multiple parties don't talk to them directly and they don't debate directly. They have to speak through the Speaker of the House, if you will. And then that's how you do things. Unfortunately, sometimes it's fortunate. The speakers have certain powers. Like, apparently, they had to stop Parliament. So in other words, we cannot get any laws passed or anything can be done until because the Speaker shut down Parliament in a way. So essentially, we have to sort this out before we can move forward with anything else.
Wow.
Which is, yeah. So that we can't move forward with anything, we have to get this thing. So that's the only thing that they're pretty much allowed to talk about in Parliament right now, until the Liberals give up this information. So that's what's going on right now. There's a suspension going on.
Wow, so there's no way to move forward with anything until the Liberals essentially give up the evidence that everybody wants in order to, put them in prison.
Exactly. Yep. Well, and now remember, like I said, there's a multiple criminal investigations going on, because that's just one of the ones going on. The other ones are liberal. There's 11 members in Parliament right now who have taken money and service and favors and all that from people of different countries and all that. Essentially, they're traitors. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
One of which is India. The other one is China. I'm like, oh, okay. So who's working for who? So
were these people stealing money and funneling it to China?
Exactly, which is another thing that needs to be looked into. We don't know. That's another thing that's going into investigation. And again, black ink is all they give the RCMP. So we need to get that information released. Because the thinking.
Oh yeah, that's pretty big deal right there for sure.
It is. So my thinking is the reason why they don't want to give out the information about the 400 million is because it's going to connect to the other situation with the 11 people who are, taking money from foreign countries. So I'm like, okay, so one will lead to the other, then lead to the other, then lead to the other, because there's a lot of things going on. Corruption in the Liberal Party is quite rampant.
Oh,
So,
I think the majority of both parties at this point have been working for China for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as bad in your country as it is in ours, but all the rhinos and the Democrats and everything, it's there's a few politicians that are legit still.
Well,
but
I think
there's a lot of people that have sold their fucking soul to China for money.
Well, I think that the difference is for you guys, because you guys have a lot more power and all that stuff. So there's a lot more interest in getting your politicians to take the bribe money and all that stuff.
Yep.
Not so much here in Canada, because we might be a large landmass, but we don't have a huge population, and we certainly don't have a large military. So we're not that important in the grand scheme of things. but we are a microcosm of stuff that probably is going on in your guys' neck of the woods as well.
Oh, you guys do a lot of arable land and a lot of good oil and mining opportunities too, though. So don't count yourselves too cheaply.
Well, no. It's just in volumes of population and like if we were to get our population up and actually start using our resources, yeah, we'd be pretty fucking. We already are, but we would be even more so.
Yeah, you'd probably be on par with the U.S.
I thought I remember hearing a stat somewhere that it's literally like 90% of the Canadian population lives within 50 miles of the U.S. border. Does that sound right?
Yep. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Because when you get further north, it's a lot colder. Terrain gets a lot more harder. So, like, if we were to develop our natural resources, we probably have more towns up in the north to get all the oil and stuff that's up there. Because there's a lot up there. So it's not.
Yeah, I mean, a good chunk of northern Canada is within the Arctic Circle, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's just a metric fuck ton of resources and metals and stuff that we should be able to grasp and get and take advantage of. It'd be nice if we could, but that's the other problem is that our government has stopped development and that kind of stuff. So it'd be nice. We'd be the Saudi. I mean, Canada would be like the Saudi Arabia of the north, of the west, I should say, because we have all this oil and stuff and be fucking rich. And not to mention it would be like good for America because you guys get all this oil and stuff, and probably good for your resources. But it's like they have vested interest in shutting all of us down. So we need to know who these 11 politicians are who are working with foreign governments. Because if we go into an election,
the thing that blows my mind is how ridiculous politics has gotten. That 11 people blatantly involved in like espionage and what do you call it when you betray your country? I remember I know there's a term, treason, sedition, and treason.
Or sedition,
like,
I guess?
Yeah. Like these people who are actively working against their own country's interests with the foreign power. Like it shouldn't be a political question at all as to whether or not they get ratted out. Everybody should want them ratted out. On both sides. Well, like, it shouldn't even be a question of left versus right. It should just be like, no, let's find these people and root them the fuck out of our government right now.
Right.
Yeah, because they obviously don't care what side they're on. They're just making money.
Yeah, well, they're actively working against everybody in the country, both sides. Like, they're benefiting a foreign power.
Yeah, it is wild that something like that would be protected.
And it's going on in the U.S., too. So it's not like it's just Canada, but it's wild to me how little concern there is over the fact that these people are working for foreign governments in our own governments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all that surprising, and like we don't know what the deals are. I do have to worry about this, especially for China's the big one we always talk about, but honestly, I think don't disregard India. India is also
India, Russia, they're all buying up our politicians. It's a real problem.
Like in my neck of the woods, I've noticed a huge demographic change.
Well, and part of the reason India is extremely immoral. Like it is a shitty fucking place to live if you're not in the right caste. They're a disgusting society.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want to be like them any more than we want to be like China. You know what I mean? Like they're just disgusting people.
Well, yeah. I mean, and like culturally, it's hard to integrate some of these people. Like I don't know if I'm sure I've mentioned a few times about our beaches here in Canada, and the fucking Indians that come on there and just shit on the beach.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, absolutely horrendous. But anyone who calls it out, they get labeled racist, and the media does hit pieces on local Canadians who speak out about this stuff. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whatever color they are, should be not allowing people to shit on the fucking beach.
Well, that's how you get diseases.
If they shit on the streets in their own country, that's fine if they want to allow that. But yeah, that should not be a racial issue.
Well, and it shouldn't be one that's not like immediately punished and punished severely. You know what I mean? Like, It shouldn't be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I
well,
think
you know, they didn't know any better. No, you could look around and see that there's no feces on the fucking beach. It's real easy. It's not hard to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
it's fucking crazy.
See, and to their credit, to the Indians here, that's just a sort of a cultural difference. They don't know about bathrooms. I think deep down there, some of them are not trying to be offensive. They just don't know any better. Like, for instance, most of them don't know what toilets are. And when I say most, I mean people who come in here don't. That's just culturally how it is. And some of them, what I have seen that some of them do is they'll take like tents, like beach tents, set them up, dig holes, poop in there, and then cover up the holes because that's some of them think that's them trying to be polite about that thing because like they're covering up their messes. They don't seem to understand that that's not how things work around here, and it's more offensive than anything else. I appreciate the effort, but poop in that thing with the water in it, yeah, you poop in that. We have bathrooms.
Yeah, how far? I don't know any beach I've ever been at. There's been restrooms within a very short walking distance, pretty much anywhere I'm at.
Yeah, because they know
beach, pretty much.
Yeah, because that's just how it works. Like, and beaches are like great for tourists and stuff, so it's like it makes sense to do that. But the other problem is that like when Indians go to a bathroom, and there's signs about this, they mostly just wash their feet. Why? I don't know. It's a cultural thing as well. So they use the sinks to wash their feet, and like you can tell because there's all this dirt and grime and stuff. They just sort of like bring the feet up there, wash it, and then splash it down. Like it's kind of gross.
Yeah, that's actually really gross.
But that's what they think.
It would be kind of funny to watch. I feel like, but yeah, that's pretty fucking gross.
No, I'll admit I've never seen that before.
The part that makes it gross is the fact that they're not cleaning up after themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if you can tell they washed their feet there because there's a bunch of dirt there still from their feet, that's what makes it gross. Like, it's like I wouldn't want to see that, but if they cleaned up the sink after they used it, then I wouldn't know, and it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
I just don't want to know.
The fact that sinks do not appear remotely like they're designed to wash fucking feet in them. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean? Very odd that they wouldn't question that to begin with.
But
and another thing I've seen at almost every beach I've been to is a spot where you can wash your fucking feet off. Like there's always this little spigot down towards the ground,
like a shower,
like 2 feet off
like
the
little like spigot. Down
yeah,
the
there's
ground
those little. Yeah, there's usually like an outdoor shower thing where you get the sand and fucking salt off of you. And there's usually one that's like a foot and a half, 2 feet off the ground to wash your feet off. Unless maybe that's not as common as I think, but it's been to most beaches I've been to. I've seen them.
I haven't seen them in any of the beaches in my area.
Okay, so maybe it's not as common.
It's really common in Southern California. It's more common in Southern California than Northern because Southern California is warmer, and so the beaches are also a little more warm. And the beaches up here are a little more rocky. There's not as many people swimming and surfing here as there are in like southern beaches.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Either way, it's still weird to have people. It seems so awkward to try to wash your foot and fucking wash your feet in a sink, dude.
Yeah, you would think it doesn't really seem like it would work out very well, but people do it anyway.
Yeah, they do indeed.
One of the things I find in Southern California and Northern California you have to worry about is when I worked at the gas station, we would have a lot of Mexicans that come in and would just throw the toilet paper on the ground beside the toilet.
Oh, God damn it, dude.
And it's like, and we were like, hey, look, so it turns out like it's a thing in Mexico, the plumbing is not good, and you can't flush the toilet paper or it'll break the toilet. So, they don't flush toilet paper down the toilet, it's just the waste. In Mexico, so if we put some signs up that are in English and in Spanish that just say, the plumbing is fine, please flush toilet paper down the toilet, do not, throw it on the floor. Thank you.
No, it happened at the Mexican
And
food
they wouldn't let us
restaurant.
put it up
Yeah.
because it was racist. And it was like, it's not
So ridiculous.
racist, it's rational. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they come
It's
from a
a,
country where they don't have good plumbing and they don't know. Why would you not inform people so that you could, like, resolve this and make it not a problem anymore?
Yeah, no, that's when the shit gets absurd. Like, how the fuck is that racist? Like, you're just needing, hey, you know, you don't have to just throw especially if they're just throwing it on the goddamn ground. At least anytime I've seen it, it's again people that obviously
there's
grew up
no
in Mexico,
trash
but
can
in the
there.
fucking.
In Mexico, there would
okay,
be
fine.
a trash can there, so they would put it there, but there's no trash can there, so they don't have anywhere to put it. So they
Why
put
do
it
you have
where
no
the trash
trash can in
can
your
should be, in their opinion, and then that's where they leave it on the ground.
I have no trash cans in your bathroom.
Like a bathroom
Is that a
stall?
normal
Yeah,
thing?
no, there's no trash can in the bathroom. Except in the women's room, there's like a little...
Okay, I'm sorry.
there's
Sorry,
like
I
a
was
little
thinking of,
bin.
never mind.
There's
Never
like
mind.
a little
Never
bin
mind.
for
Never mind.
tampons in the women's restroom, and that could get... Yeah, that was not always fun.
Okay, yeah, no, I was thinking of the bathroom overall and not just the individual stall.
Yeah. Like
I
the
realized
stalls
the
and
error
stuff,
of my
yeah.
ways. Yeah, no, I get it now.
It was weird.
I was just
We also
imagining a bunch
had
of shit
had
covered
people that would
toilet
come in
paper.
and shit all over the entire bathroom, though. So like, and I mean literally, like, somebody went in the middle of the bathroom and set off a poop bomb that coated all the walls and the ceiling in poop.
Jesus, dude.
And
Yeah, I've definitely
we've always
done some
wondered
gross
how that
stuff.
happened, but there was a couple of occasions where I worked there where I was like, I don't care if you fire me. I'm not going to go clean that up. That's extremely
disgusting.
hazardous
Yeah.
for me, and
yeah,
it's
beyond-
disgusting, and I'm not going to put myself in a position where I could end up getting some sort of weird poop-borne illness because somebody decided to shit literally all over the fucking ceiling. you
Yeah.
know? And,
Yeah, no,
minimum
that's
wage,
definitely,
not
like,
enough
you
to
need to
pay
bring
me to
in
do that.
somebody.
I'll find another job to work minimum wage
Yeah.
for. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get in contact with, like, somebody that's normally cleans up, like, crime scenes where people died.
Oh no,
To
the
come in and
manager
clean.
fucking went in and did it.
Wow.
He went in there with a hose and a fucking raincoat, and he fucking did it.
Wow. Not even the owner, the manager?
The
I feel
manager.
like the owner. No,
Nope.
Jesus. I guess she must be making more money than.
He was an
I would
ex-marine.
think about
I think it would have taken a lot more than that to fucking scare him.
it. Yeah.
Like, I think he was
Yeah.
just one of those guys who was like, "Yeah, I was in the fucking Marines during Vietnam. Like, fuck off. I'll clean poop off a toilet. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not a
this is
pussy.
nothing.
You guys are
Yeah,
soft little
it's a
bastards."
netter perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, no, it's yeah. For me, it would definitely be money, something like that. Fuck you.
Oh, I'm just looking. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just looking at the fact that I made minimum wage, and I'm like, I don't need minimum
Yeah.
wage enough that I can't
Yeah.
go without it for
Like,
a
if you
couple
wanna pay
weeks and like get another job somewhere else.
Yeah, if you want to pay me like $1,000 to go clean it, then maybe. And even then, what you're describing, I'm not sure $1,000 would be enough.
They just didn't have the safety equipment too. That was the other thing. It's like a little raincoat
Oh,
that didn't
right,
fit
right.
me, and then a fucking hose. I'm like, nah, dude, because I'm gonna be spraying that stuff. It's literally gonna be spraying all over the place because the water's gonna hit it and it's gonna splash on the other side. I mean, no, dude, no.
Yeah, yeah. Shut up. I don't have to go out.
Like, I would want a respirator or something, man. I don't want to be breathing it in.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I
Yeah,
don't want it to get in my eyes. I don't want it to get under my nails and my ears. Like, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
Yeah,
for you.
hazmat. Like a fucking hazmat suit. Absolutely.
And he didn't yell or
Yeah,
anything.
so-
Normally he would have words if you were like trying to get out of doing something or whatever, but he was just like, no, you know what?
Like,
I
all right,
understand.
okay.
I understand, and I'll take care of it. It's my job. I'm the manager. Always had a lot of respect for that guy because there's a lot of managers who would have turned around and started screaming at us for that, but I was like, nah.
Oh, goddamn you. Careful. Oh, sorry. I don't know if any of that was coming through, but I'm fighting with my dog. Fighting with the puppy.
It's all good.
All right, what was I looking at? Oh, did you see there was another case of a guy who was tricked by some trans dude, basically raped by some dude pretending to be a woman, and then killed him.
Yeah.
And then he got prison time, which I just, it's so unreal, man. It just blows my mind, because if some chick murdered, like killed the rapist that was trying to rape her, like they wouldn't put her in prison.
So the trans person just sucked him off, right? I don't think he actually fucked her, right?
I don't know what it was, but as far as I'm concerned, it's right if you misrepresent yourself to that level, and then... they should fucking... Yeah, he shouldn't have killed her, I admit, but I can understand, especially a black dude, because if anybody finds out about that shit, he's going to be mocked for the rest of his life about it. I don't even think it has anything to do with that. I think somebody misrepresents themselves to that level. Like, if you're not gay, you know, sleeping with a guy, that's really fucking...
Yeah. No, you should definitely know that that's a strong fucking possibility if you're going to mislead someone.
Well, the other thing I was looking at was, like, how the fuck did he not know? Because I looked at the pictures, and I was just like, how the fuck did you not know? Like, that looks like a dude in a dress. Like, it's kind of obvious.
That is a handsome woman.
Yeah.
Unless he's
because I've seen some where it's like you wouldn't know. Like I've seen some where like the guy definitely passes. It's like there's no way the guy would have known, especially a bar or a club or something. But this one, you knew. Like, come on, man.
I think it's also because there's a lot of guys out there who really lower their standards. It's like if you're hooking up with someone like that, what's the guy look like? Something tells me he wasn't a catch himself.
Well, you can see on the in the general, it's not too far up the thing. There's the picture of the guy.
4 or 5 spots there.
The guy doesn't look half bad. He could definitely have done better. The guy's got the orange jumpsuit on, and then the girl, the other guy has the pink headband and stuff.
I see what you're talking. Oh my god! I don't
like that guy could have done better than that girl for sure. Like,
I feel like actually, he doesn't look not too bad looking. He looks like he could pass for a woman easier than that. Thing.
Ironically, he would have been a better woman than the guy.
There. Come on.
Hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole thing is like, to me, it's like, hey, you know, if you're gonna lie to somebody on that level, that's an extreme betrayal of trust, and I don't have an objection to him in the heat of the moment shooting her, him or it or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me. I don't blame them, but I feel like that seems like an unreasonable thing.
I have no opinions one way or the other on this subject.
Oh wait, are you saying you'd be down with that? You're into that? Is that your thing?
No.
Should we be hooking you up with some Thai people? Is that what's going on?
No.
Oh no. Man.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, I think that was a justified shooting in my opinion, but it's certainly not 30 years in prison shooting, like, because that's not a premeditated murder. He didn't like plan it out and then kill the guy. You know, there wasn't like like he didn't go out and hire a hitman or some crazy shit like that. He didn't lure the guy into like some like clandestine area or, you know, poison him slowly over time. So 30 years it wouldn't be reasonable for a murder like in the second degree anyway. So pretty ridiculous. It must be that hate crime bullshit.
Could be.
I hate that fucking concept. It's just like, this murder is more important than the other murder. Like, you have to be more punished for this murder because it wasn't like racism was involved. Like, I don't think the dead person gives a shit. I don't think they're more dead because there was a racial issue involved.
I think you're right. But then again, we live in a topsy-turvy world, so really, am I really surprised? Not really.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. It's just sad that guy's life is now like doubly ruined. Because I mean, you already shot one dude. How are you gonna get laid in prison if you're gonna shoot dudes? You know, like they're not gonna. You're not going to get any of the prettier guys in prison to bang.
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
The world is a weird place right now. Nobody likes it. Nobody's happy with the state of anything.
Well, like, I don't give a shit if somebody wants to dress up like a chick or whatever, but, like, you got to be honest with the people you're dating 100%. Like, whatever it is you are, you need to be upfront. And, like, they need to, like, especially if there's, like, STDs or gender issues or any of that kind of shit.
Oh, but Stabby, that's bigoted. What's wrong with you? Come on. Love is love.
And I don't give a fuck. It's fine, I don't care. I think it's just like, cause that sort of like goes back to like relationships are just so bad between people right now anyway. Like they just don't seem to understand like what it means to have a partner.
Mm-hmm. The responsibilities that go with it.
Yeah, and the fact that it's you and that partner against everyone else. It's not like like just hang out with each other when it's convenient. It's supposed to be like everything is up, like you're open and honest about everything with your partner.
Mm-hmm. Well, as honest as you can be. I understand sometimes things get forgotten and like okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking. I'm just saying you don't deliberately lie to your partner. It's not cool. Like you just should not deliberately be lying to your partner.
Well, unless you know it's in their best interest, in which case, yeah, lie all you want.
Oh, like, yeah, that bacon is made out of pork.
Yeah, like you sort of say something like that. Like, I remember hearing about this one case where there was this guy, and he got fired from his job. He knew his wife would like freak out and take the kids and, go somewhere, and he might not see him again. And he knows that could have been a problem. So he just never told them that he got fired. And they lived off of his savings for not quite a year. It went for a while there. But he eventually got a new job and all that. And it wasn't until like after he had gotten to work, he said, "Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I've been jobless for like months."
I can understand what you're saying. That makes sense. I get it.
Like in that case, yeah.
But I'll tell you right now. I wonder at wanting to stay in that relationship if he knows that him losing his job might mean she takes the kids and leaves him.
Well, if you know your partner is prone to, let's say, panic attacks or something like that, if you know that they're not going to react well, it might be in the best interest not to tell them.
No. I'm not saying that part's wrong. I get that. That makes perfect sense to me. I get it. That's reasonable. What I'm saying is, why would you want to stay in that relationship in the first place, though? Like if you know like any hint of trouble, this other person's just gone. Yeah, get the fuck out. I don't need you. I'll find someone else that's actually going to stay by me when there's a problem. Because that's what's going to matter.
I don't know. If you don't find that out though until you've already knocked her up a couple times or something.
Yeah, no, I know. But he had to like live off the savings for a year. Yeah. I would have been taking that year as a way to find somebody else to be with and to like build a case to divorce that person.
Well, I think
I definitely would not. Yeah.
Well, I would be looking for a way out of that relationship just because it's like, well, if you're not going to stick with me over something like a lost job, then I don't want to fuck you. You're not a partner. You're just somebody who's freeloading. Like I'm out.
Well, I'm with you on that, but what I would say is like relationships are complicated, especially if there's children involved, and especially if you live in a state where like if she leaves, then you won't get custody of the kids. You might not never see them again. There's a lot that can ride on that, and there's a lot of times there are things you find out about your partner that you didn't find out beforehand because sometimes you didn't know, and sometimes they don't know. Like if they have like a chemical imbalance due to pregnancy or whatever, which does happen.
Oh yeah. My friend developed bipolar after he'd been married for like 2 years.
Yeah, and I think like in some cases it's a lot more complicated than that, especially if you've already spent like years with someone and started a family. It's like sometimes you have to take these things into consideration and find out what's best. And if what's best is like you don't want to run the risk of taking the kids and leaving.
That we like to make things seem more complicated when they're more difficult to deal with.
I think
when they're not really more complicated. The right answer isn't more complicated. It's just,
it's just an
enacting the
incredibly,
right answer is more
situation.
difficult. So we say like, oh well, there's so much to be, I can't do this because it's too complicated. I think it's kind of an excuse in a way, because it's similar when you hear these chicks who are like, my husband beats the shit out of me all the time, blah blah blah, but I can't leave him because I don't have a job or blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but you could find a way to do that, to work it. You could find shelters, you could find family, you could find friends that will let you stay with them. The police have resources. There's all sorts of ways that you can actually make that work, whether you have kids or not.
Yeah, especially for women. Jesus Christ.
And it comes down to, I think people get comfortable in their situation, and they're comfortable with that person. They're comfortable with whatever their faults are, and so they're willing to disregard it. Which is fine. That's their choice. It's not my choice. I just don't agree that
stable.
That makes a good excuse,
Well, I think that history is a factor, and events that have happened in the past, they did happen. One of which being is like, the kids thing.
Yeah.
Can a woman take the kids and leave, and you potentially never see them again? Yes. Is that as common as they think? More common than we like to accept. So
I had a guy I worked with kill himself because his wife had taken the kids and basically kept him away from them.
So that's a very large gamble. Now you could make the argument like, okay, yeah, I'll just forget that my partner and I'll start over again. That's not really good for the kids' health.
No.
Because
here's the thing, though. If I was in that situation, what I would do is I would take the time to figure out how to make sure that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Talk with attorneys, and then, if necessary, potentially go somewhere without extradition. There's all sorts of other options, even some extreme ones, but at a certain point, it's like, if this person isn't going to have your back no matter what, then it's just not a good idea to stay in that relationship, to me.
Yeah, if my ex had kept the kid from me, I would have killed her before I killed myself.
Not sure if that's
no, honestly, once I found out, when I started going, realizing how fucked up the situation was, I went to court and I got custody of my son. If that didn't happen, if somehow she still had custody, I probably wouldn't have actually ended up doing this, but yeah, that was definitely in my head. I'm going to kill this bitch. I'm going to try to find any fucking legal way to get my son out of there, and if none of it works, I'm going to kill this bitch.
Well, I think in a lot of these cases, it's they're hard to navigate, hard to figure out, and certainly hard to plan for. So sometimes it's cheaper to keep her, and I don't like that phrase, but sometimes it rings true.
Yeah.
I think easier is what it really boils down to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be willing to do it, but I understand that some people, that's a tolerable situation.
Yeah, people can make whatever decision they want. I just think it's a wrong decision. I'm not arguing whether or not they can.
Well, again, it's like you're weighing the risks involved with all this. You could try and come up with a plan to leave this person, but then they have powers and abilities that you don't, and so you have to say you could just try and find a way to leave her, and hopefully you can still keep the kids involved in all that. But because the judicial powers that they have favoring the woman, it's a gamble that's more dangerous than anything else, and chances of losing is greater than winning. And even if you get what you want, you're probably not going to like the results in the end anyways. I'm just saying, it's if this was a fair world and you had proper abilities to do stuff, sure, go for it. But we don't live in that world. We live in the world that we're in, and that's the thing we're going to have to do.
Yeah, I think fundamentally the disagreement here is defeatist versus it sounds like you're more defeatist, you're not willing to take that fight, and it's I'm more willing to take the fight, and so it's just different opinion on that. Neither person is necessarily wrong. It's just we don't agree on the way you take on whether or not it's worth the risks, the challenges are worth it.
You can take any fight you want. But again, I'm not going to take a losing fight. No one gains at that point.
It's not a losing fight just because you say it is, though. That's what I'm saying. There's always a chance of winning. And
there's
the
a
difference
chance
is
of
in
anything.
who you know, whether or not you're willing to put that extra effort in to make it more worth your time. You know?
I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance of winning almost any fight imaginable. But like I said, if it's less likely than likely, sure. But you're just swinging for nothing at that point, and you have more to lose than to gain at that point. It's not. And again, I'm not saying it's a. I understand why you say it's defeatist. I'm saying it's more strategic. Because I mean, you want to do stuff that's going to cause as little damage to yourself, your partner, and your potential kids if you have kids. Because you have to understand that it's not just you on the line. I mean, it's great that you want to fight, but chances are,
no,
there's
that's
gonna
why
be a
I
loss
want to take more of a chance. I don't want my
know,
kids
but-
to learn that they should just put up with something because it's hard. You know, or be unhappy because something is difficult. You know, like that doesn't. That seems like a horrible thing to teach children. I want them to learn, like, no, if you're in a bad situation or a bad relationship, whatever, that you work and you get your way out of it. If I had them, I don't have any kids. Obviously, I'm not trying to fucking teach any kids anything. So, you know.
and I think that's also part of the reason why you're so willing to fight, because it's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, you're stuck.
No. I mean, that's what you do lose. You lose is your kids don't learn how to like be real adults.
The other flip side to that is that they're not going to gain that lesson anyways, because chances are, because while you're going through the fight, the battle, the legal, and which also takes up a lot of money and all that stuff, while the fight is going on, she's going to get custody of the kids, almost guaranteed. And when that happens,
the thing is, you don't let that fight start until you've already put everything in place to keep that from happening. That's what I'm saying. Like, you figure out how to do that. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's impossible because you live in a state where, like, that doesn't work. So figure out a way to move to a state where it does. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always a way to fix something that's wrong. Yep. It doesn't necessarily mean it's easy to do, and maybe you fail. Maybe at the end of the day, you fight for nothing. So fucking what? You know what I mean? Like, at least you did. At least you tried. At least you did what you could.
I'm sure.
I think that's a more valuable lesson for your kids than anything else could possibly be.
It's a lesson that 9 times out of 10 they're never going to learn. And
that's how learning works. They observe what happens and then they learn.
Okay, but
that's how it works. It's the very definition of learning.
Yes.
So they are going to learn that lesson.
Hold on. Yeah, if they witness it. While the fight's going on, they are going to be taken out of the equation, and the only person who's going to be whispering in their ears about what the actual fight is like is going to be their mother.
Well, in Canada that might be true, but it's not true everywhere in the U.S.
It's more prevalent in the U.S. More prevalent in the U.S. I guarantee you. And because of that, they're not going to learn the lesson that you think they're going to learn. What they're going to learn is that you are a deadbeat dad, you're trying to destroy the family, you're trying to bankrupt the mother, because that's what she's going to say in their ears. You're gonna get what you want. Sure, you might win the fight or whatever else, but they're going to win the war, because that's what the lesson the kids are going to learn. They're not going to learn what you think they're going to learn. They're going to learn the opposite of that. And that's what usually happens.
I'm sorry, I don't think that's true, but you know, obviously we're not going to agree. So, and it's kind of immaterial since it's not really something either of us is actually dealing with.
Oh, for sure. But like I say, like I'll listen to various different podcasts and about like with divorced fathers and stuff and what goes on. Again, you could win it, and you're still going to lose. And that's just how it like.
Maybe I'm biased because every single father I've met has custody of their kids.
Maybe that is. Yeah, maybe that is.
Yeah, it is actually not. Yeah, like my situation, my ex was such a fucking mess that I was able to get custody because she was constantly high on meth and tested proving that. If that hadn't happened, or even though it did happen, if she had managed to get clean right away, I probably would not have had my son for very long.
Yeah,
I would not have had sole custody of my son for very long.
Yeah, one of the things I think about the custody thing that does not make sense to me is why is it not decided based on who's more capable?
Yeah, it's weird. It used to be, like, way back, that I would almost always, the kids would stay with the father.
Honestly, I think that would
I
be
don't
the
know
best
when
choice in
exactly
most
it will.
cases. Like,
I think I think the system goes on like the preponderance of evidence, if I'm quoting that right. Essentially, they're saying who's more likely to be more violent, men or women, and who's more likely to be nurturing, fathers or mothers. And they would often say that partially because
oh, that's
it,
such horse shit. Because
well,
women are just as likely to be violent. It's just less likely to be
Yeah,
reported.
yeah.
well,
Nowadays, certainly.
and
Yeah,
women's violence is different in that it's more passive aggressive and more gossipy and all the other kind of stuff, which
No,
I
no,
would
I'm
argue is
talking
more.
about physical violence. Don't change the words I'm using. No, I'm talking about actual
Not you-
physical
No, I'm
violence. Women are
adding. No,
just as prone to like
I know. But
striking and hitting people as men
I'm
are.
not
It's not
changing.
like there's a difference between
Okay,
the
that's not what
genders
I
and like
said.
who's gonna
Yeah.
hit. You said it's more like gossip and like stuff like that. I'm like, no, I'm talking about physical violence. Like,
I know. I'm adding to that. I'm just saying the reason why I think it's more dangerous for the women in there because they're more gossipy and all the other kind of stuff, and they tend to blow things out of proportion, which I think can be more dangerous. But we don't take that into account because when it comes to the courts, they just look at the physicality, and
yeah.
it's like when it comes to
Well,
let's
that's
say
the problem is while women are just as likely to be violent towards the kids, they're less likely to have it be reported as abuse.
mhm, yeah.
But
So,
like
and then
I've heard a lot of stories about women who are extremely physically abusive to their kids, like from people who've like been like horribly beaten. Like my grandmother chased my father around with a fucking hammer trying to beat him with it.
Mhm.
Because he fucking stirred the paint with a hammer. Because he was a little kid and he didn't fucking know any better. Like I think he was 12 or something. And it's like,
shut
holy
up.
shit, you know? Like fucking hit a 12-year-old with a claw hammer because he fucking stirred some paint with it. That's an insane response.
Mhm. Nope, I'm with you on that. I think part of that is also because like how like boys are conditioned as they grow up. Because like a lot of kids, they roughhouse, they
Oh,
physically
yeah.
get in there. But the nice thing about roughhousing and being more physically aggressive with people is that you end up like learning where the limits are. Which is why even if you get a guy that's abusive
Well,
and all that,
couples usually wrestle with each other a lot when they're at least in the early stages.
sometimes that's sometimes
Yeah,
how it
that's
goes.
a lot of
It's
times
just-
like they'll have like tickle fights and stuff. So you should get some idea of what you can and can't like.
Well, yeah, but girls in particular, when they grow up, they don't usually get physical. They don't
Yeah.
roughhouse like boys, because they're not as strong, and they know they get hurt when they do that. They don't do that, but boys do. Like if boys want to roughhouse, their chances are they're gonna be just fine at the end of it. And as a result of that, and it carries on to the teenage years.
Well, more
and
than
it's
anything,
sometimes-
also there's no like it's not taking care of kids isn't instinctive. Like maybe feeding them and loving them, sure, but like raising children and teaching them how to be like good adults. That's not like an instinctive thing. That's something you learn, and you learned it from your parents or you didn't. But I feel like we as a society don't spend enough time educating kids on how to raise their own children. And when that point in time comes.
well, for a lot of households, we've taken the fathers out of the households because they're violent
Well,
guys.
I'm not even talking about like the father versus the mother thing like that. I'm talking about just like as in general thing. Human beings are not instinctively gifted with the ability to raise children properly. You know what I mean? Like they can keep them alive, and they
Yeah,
can
it's also,
love them, and that's normal. That's instinctual behavior. But like, you have to learn how to actually teach a child to be an adult. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you have to learn.
Yeah, it's also when you're raising kids, how you were parented. Trying to do differently than you were parented is actually a lot more difficult than I thought it would be.
Oh, well, it's probably
started growing up on
hard to
different
fucking
shit.
get past
Yeah,
that.
because there was shit, there was shit that that my dad did that I'm like, I'm never gonna fucking do that, and I caught myself coming very close and realizing that is a much bigger impact. That's your kind of imprint. Like, you think it almost becomes instinctual based on how you were raised.
That's what I'm saying. As a society, I think we should spend some time educating
it's
children,
actually,
especially like in junior high and high school when they're young, educating people on how to raise children, just so that they have some idea of what to do, and like,
Yeah.
you know, give
But
them tools that they may never have learned as children on how to deal with like conflict and, you know, resolving and stuff like that. Because a lot of things we don't have is conflict resolution too.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's a lot harder to not do that shit than I thought would be possible.
Oh yeah, I've caught myself acting like my dad or my mom in situations where it was very inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times, like our brains will go back to our memories, and then that's how we behave in the current. Cause that's how it's like you're looking like, how do I handle this situation, and you think your brain just automatically goes to what your parents did to you. Now, sometimes it's a bad thing, like you get, you know, maybe you're a little more aggressive than you want it to be, but also you look back at that and think, I don't want to do that. And so even if you had an abusive father, you'll like, I don't want to. You know that there's something you don't want to do.
My dad screamed a lot and would always, you know, you're useless, you're a worthless piece of shit, that kind of stuff, like that kind of commentary. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm glad I never had kids, because I would never want to treat them like that. That would be terrible.
Yeah. No, it can be overcome, and you're aware of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the fact that I had to fight against that, and I did not think I would have to. You know what I mean? It would be
easy, yeah. Well, compared to how my dad was raised, he was much better. So, like, he definitely, he was not, you know, like, I got spanked as a child, but I never got beaten. You know what I mean? And there's a big difference between getting a spanking and a beating, trust me. Like, I'm just...
Yeah, getting spanked for misbehaving as opposed to getting beaten for no fucking reason.
Yeah, totally different. So, like, I never had to deal with that. I never got beat up by my parents or anything like that. Yeah,
and you tend to... Sometimes I look back and you think about, like, what your parents were like, and you're like, what happened to make them like that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like my dad, I realized in high school, most of what was going on was the fact that when he was young, like in his early 20s, he fucked up his back and he had like a hunchback. So he was like, you know, all this pain from his back being fucked up. He didn't get very good medical treatment. You know, the company fucked him up that he was working for, like, fucked him over, and he didn't really get anything out of the injury. And he was, you know, stuck with like this kid and all these things that he didn't know how to deal with, and you know, it was just a tough situation for him as well. So I can understand why he would lash out, you know, in the position he was in, and he was also an alcoholic, so that didn't help. But I realized it wasn't about me. He wasn't mad at me. He was mad at himself for what he saw as failure. And he wasn't happy with the way his life had turned out. And he, you know, took it out on the kids. And so it was you know, once I realized that, it was a lot easier for me to handle the terrible things he would say or whatever like that.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Yeah, but that's hard for a lot of people to reach. Like, it's not easy to get to that part where you're like, oh, even though it was awful and I hated when it happened, it wasn't even about me. And, like, I could waste my time being mad and miserable, or I could just be like, well, I'm not going to be that person, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. You know, it's one thing I stressed to my son, because I didn't figure it out until way too late, is, yeah, some of the shit you get in trouble or yelled at by people does not necessarily have anything to do with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, look, man, in any situation, you can fucking think about it, determine whether you actually had some negative part in it or you're at fault. And if not, you can kind of assume the other person's just a piece of shit. That is having a bad day, or it's just a shitty person in general.
Well, and like, one of the things that's kind of interesting if you think about it is there's a lot of times where you'd be like working at jobs and figure out like better ways to do things especially when you're younger, and you get in trouble for a lot of that shit.
Right.
And it's because those people are just incompetent morons. But when at the time you think, oh yeah, you know, it's like, it's my fault, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
And it's 90% of it is that they, you know, that the incompetent idiot you're working for didn't think of it first, And so it must be bad because it wasn't their idea. Like, they're just control freaks. They don't,
Right.
you know, because that's a
Yeah,
common
no.
thing you'll run into a lot when you're working for other people, is having to do things in the stupidest, least efficient way possible because that's the way they want it done.
uh,
Yes, the workplace.
Yeah, I've worked at a lot of jobs. I've worked in 1 or 2 jobs where that's not how it is.
okay.
Like, the assembly place I worked at was really good because if you figured out a better way to do something, they were happy and they actually appreciated that. The tire busting place I worked at, they were mad whenever you got something and did it better. Like, we set up a system in one day that probably increased the efficiency of what we were doing, changing tires and batteries. Probably doubled or tripled the efficiency and the speed with which we could get stuff done.
And somebody was mad about it because they didn't come up with it.
We weren't allowed to do it that way. We had to each work separately. Teamwork was not allowed. Teamwork was wrong.
Yeah, everything you've described to me about that job is fucking nuts, dude.
I swear to God, it was a case where we had 3 people on a day we should have had 5. And we realized, like, oh shit, this is going to be one of the busiest days of the year because there's this massive sale that went on that day, and we were 2 people, so we said, we'll instead of each of us working on one car at a time, we'll have one guy go in, he'll bring in a car, then 2 guys will go down on each side, they'll take all the tires off the car, depending on how many you're doing. And just streamlined the process so that essentially everybody had like smaller tasks in that were the same, and so there was less downtime while you were switching from one task to another task, and everybody was getting it done together. And it was we were so far ahead of the workflow that we had time to take breaks and lunches that we would not normally have had. Like, they would have been mad about us taking prior to that. Working as a team instead of working separately, and we actually almost got written up for it.
You guys are doing the jobs too well. Knock it off.
Yeah, it was one of the craziest things I ever heard. That's why I stopped working at that company. That's why I moved on to another company after that. So I was just like, you know, we increased efficiency like 150%, and you're like gonna write me up for that and threaten to fire me if we don't stop doing that? Like, that's kind of dumb. All right, well, good luck. Bye. And lo and behold, where's Sears Auto Center now? What's that? Doesn't fucking exist, does it? So Sears went the fuck out of business.
What you've described about, like, the it's trying to snake each other's compensation shit, like your sales bonuses and shit, over very minor amounts. I'm like, I've worked in sales for fucking decades, dude. I've never really had that kind of problem with people trying to steal other people's shit.
Yeah, all Sears Auto Centers closed for business in 2022. Yeah, no, they would, for 50-cent commissions, people would be like fighting with each other and like stealing commissions from behind other people's backs.
Yeah, see, I've never really seen that. And the shit, I was, any sale where I've worked, $10 would probably be the minimum amount, and up to 50, 100 easy. And
well, we had some of the most disgusting salespeople ever, because a lot of the and so I didn't know this when I started the job, but a lot of what Sears did was extremely dishonest to their customers. They ripped their customers off a lot, a lot, and so, for instance, like, they would not show the customers all of the options they had available for tires.
Okay.
They would only show them, like, 1 or 2 options, most of them being more expensive. They would not, like, unless you specifically said, I want the cheapest tires I can get, they would show you, like, a medium price tire and then expensive price tire. And then just give you an option between those two and say those were your options.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking gross, dude.
Yeah, I mean, instead of saying like, hey, we have tires that start at this price, we have tires that go up to this price, the benefit of the more expensive tires is that they will last longer and that they will be better as far as like gripping the road and maneuvering your car in extreme circumstances. So they are a better tire. You get more mileage out of them in the long term. They're probably a better investment to a point. But there are these really cheap tires if that's what you can afford, and they'll work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and give people
yeah,
that
that's
option.
the thing that, dude. Yeah, that's the thing that they don't seem to understand about that shit is that's going to be much better for repeat business. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
actually just like, hey, look, these are all the options. These are the advantages, disadvantages, whatever. Yeah. In any of my sales jobs, if I couldn't treat the customer the way I would want to be treated, I was kind of out. Yeah, that's why I stopped working for
one of the other
Verizon.
things that they would not do jobs unless they did an inspection first. So, like, if somebody came in and said, hey, I just want to get my brakes done, they're like, oh, no, we have to take the extra time and do a brake check and inspect the brakes before we replace them. Just so they could charge more money. They're like, we can't do it. It's not legal. And you absolutely can just go in and change the brakes. It was just like crazy shit like that. And it was so fucking deceptive and dishonest. And it was mainly so that they could, you know, find ways to like add extra fees and stuff. They were pretty scummy. Do not recommend working at that company that no longer exists for some odd reason.
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on what could have possibly happened there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, before I did sales, I'd worked my way up over the course of like 6 months from being like just the tire buster guy to running the battery bay and being the go-to guy for any sort of difficult tires. So if somebody had like really, really nice rims and they were getting like super low profile tires, I could put them on without scratching their rims up. Most of the other people that worked there couldn't. Because they just didn't train very well. They didn't train their people very well at all. But because it's a different procedure if it's like if the sidewall is about 3 inches wide all the way around the tire, it's going to be extremely difficult to get it on the car when most of them are like 6 inches wide and much more like there's more flexibility.
Yeah. Right.
But that was a fun job. I was a good first job. I mean, that's I called in one day not fucking coming in, you asshole. And I didn't get fired, so that's not bad. You know?
Yeah, I actually like the way they do shit now, where it's usually like any corporation, like you don't even have to call into your fucking boss, really. They usually have just like fucking, what do you call it? Yeah, like a Liberty Mutual, it was just like a fucking attendance line or whatever. You just call in and say, hey, I'm not coming in. You can give a reason if you want, but you don't have to.
You
know what I mean?
There was the assembly place I worked at. I would golf with the manager, right? And he would talk about shit, and like we would bitch about work stuff sometimes, because and he didn't give a shit if I was like, fuck that guy, fuck this, and fuck that other thing in the company, blah blah blah. He was actually pretty chill about that, because he recognized like, yeah, I'm just a fucking dude. You're just a dude. It doesn't like I'm not like some special guy because I'm a manager in this one place and in this company.
Yeah.
And
dude,
so
that's awesome.
One of the things that he always would complain about was people calling in sick, and he was like, I don't want to know what is coming out of where or what color it is or what it smells like or what it looks like. Just tell me you're sick. Just say I'm calling in, I'm sick and I can't come in. I don't need any more details than that. Please, dear God, stop. He was like,
it reminds me of the fucking Rodney Carrington, the comedian, one of the redneck comedians.
Oh, I love that guy. Dear
penis.
penis.
Calling in sick. He's like, He's like, hey, boss, I can't come in today. I'm sick. He's like, you don't sound sick. He's like, well, I'm fucking my sister. Is that sick enough for you? He's like, God damn, yeah, you can stay your sick ass at home.
Oh, man. Yeah, Rodney Carrington is a fucking riot. I love that dude. Show Them
Indeed.
to Me. Beautiful, beautiful song, man.
Yeah, a lot of his fucking, the songs are great. Like, it's great
Penis?
stand-up shit. It's fucking great, too.
Oh, yeah, he's funny as hell. I was always kind of sad he never got, like, really big.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty dirty, but I don't know. So was Ron White. He made it pretty, got pretty popular.
Yeah, like, I always thought
he
Rodney
kind of-
Carrington was better than, like, Foxworthy and...
Yeah,
A lot of them, a lot
I
more
definitely
clever.
pick him over, over Foxworthy or Bill Engvall is another one. The Here's Your Sign guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, any
he was
fucking
okay,
day.
but, yeah, he was okay. I don't have any objection to him, really. But, yeah, Rodney Carrington was much, much funnier.
Oh, I'm not saying there was anything wrong with
good.
the Here's Your Sign guy. I'm just saying I would take Rodney Carrington over him. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Carrington, I'd put him ahead of Ron White, I think. I like Ron White a lot, but...
Oh, Ron
I
White's
think
great,
Carrington is funny.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, his songs are great. Yeah, like I said, his regular stand-up's fucking great, too. Yeah, fucking, I forget the name of the song, but it's the main gist of it is, if you play your cards wrong, you can take me home tonight. That one.
If you play your cards wrong.
Yeah,
If you fucked up, lady, you might get stuck with me in your house tonight. Yeah.
I got $10 and my credit sucks, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, $10, you get you a bottle of $10 Chuck.
Yeah.
At least you
What do you say
get
about
good
it, yeah?
and drunk.
He said he wished God would have done more with your nutsack. He's like, make it look like a Crown Royal bag, all velvety, with your name on the side.
Ooh, kinky.
Damn.
Oh, man.
If anyone knows what I'm talking about, the Crown Royal, you know, the purple, like it would come in like a purple, like fucking velvet bag.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice.
Oh, yeah. I've had Crown
in case
Royal before.
anyone-
Before I stopped drinking, before I was like, man, hangovers are just not fucking worth it anymore.
Yeah. That's why I got into the weed. No hangover.
Yep. I love me some weed for that specific reason. The fact that I don't have to worry about some fucking waking up in the morning like miserable.
Yeah, and
Like,
stupid
what?
shit
I
you
can
do
wake
on
up
weed.
in the morning after getting high and then and feel really good. What? That sounds great. You know, like,
Oh fuck, dude! What was it? The Dewey Cox one, the spoof of the Johnny Cash thing, the Ballad of Dewey Cox with John C. Reilly. Like every fucking drug he would try.
yeah.
Yeah, like he would find. It was Tim Robbins, the guy that did like the black dude that did like the Ladies Man on Saturday Night Live and all that. But anyways, like every single drug, he would come in. You don't want any of this shit, Dewey Cox. And it's funny because he was talking like in the first one for marijuana. He's like, it's funny because he's telling him he doesn't want it, and he's like, there are no negative side effects, and like it's all like upbeat and positive. Like obviously the other shit wasn't.
Oh man.
But he would always be like, yeah, let me add some of that shit. Obviously later it was like the heroin, all that kind of crap.
I always thought the funny part about like fucking what's his name? Now I can't remember it. Johnny Cash was how fucked up that dude was. Like that dude was an asshole. Like he was really good at making music and doing a lot of drugs, but he was a real prick. Like, have you ever heard him talk about why he wears black? Well, obviously not why he wore black, because he's dead now, so he's not wearing it anymore. He used to wear black all the time because he was in mourning, because everybody he saw was all going to go to hell, except for him.
God damn, dude. That's fucking insane.
And then, like at one point, he burned a forest down and almost caused the extinction of a specific breed of condor, or it was like vulture or something.
Wow.
Because he got real fucked up and the propane bottle and ended up lighting the propane bottle on his camper fucking caught fire and blew up and then set the forest ablaze.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, oh, that dude was absolutely fucking terrible, like, as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah, I think all the fucking old-timers, like the original kind of rock stars, like, they didn't quite know how, like, they were all kind of fucked up and on all kinds of drugs and shit.
Yeah,
But
oh,
back
yeah.
in the day, fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
And
starting
fucking
like
their
that, I don't
cousins.
know.
All of them were fucking their cousins and weird shit like that, too. It was weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis literally married his cousin. First cousin,
Well, like
right?
Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, and then, like, there's a bunch of other, like, I remember I don't know if we did it on this podcast, but I remember going through, like fucked up stuff, like, there's a list of fucked up shit that, like, rock stars and celebrities had done. And it was just a litany of people having sex with, like, 16-year-olds that were usually related to them in some way. Not always related to them, but
I don't
usually.
think Priscilla Presley, I don't think was related, right? She was just very young, I think. You know, the one that he actually...
I thought she was a cousin. Was she not the cousin? Was she not one of his cousins?
Maybe. I don't think so, or at least I don't. Not that I know.
I genuinely don't know.
She was young.
Like, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember hearing that. But
wait, we have the fucking
internet
at our fingertips.
Yeah, if there was only some way to look that up. Oh fuck. But yeah, no. And what was fucked up is apparently
they were not cousins.
Elvis had like some crazy aversion to fat girls, right? Like not even fat, just not super skinny, right? So Priscilla Presley, while she's fucking pregnant, had to make sure she stayed as slim as possible, so he wouldn't like get rid of her. Yeah.
Ew,
that's fucking disgusting.
Fucked
dude.
up, man.
It's creepy. It's creepy. It's just fucked up overall. There's nothing positive about that. But yeah, like literally, I don't know if he actually told her that. He must have said something to her at some point that was a real concern for her. So she had to try to not look as not pregnant as possible. Basically.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fucking gross,
man.
dude.
Oh, so
did you look it up?
Yeah, no, they're not related. Priscilla was not his cousin.
Okay.
I was going to say,
I think she was very young when they got together.
Samaj
like that's
is deafened here. I gotta hit the bathroom, but we're only like 15-ish minutes from the end, so I was maybe we just end early because
all right. Yeah,
it seems to make more sense than me like going away for like 10 minutes and coming back than for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so. I hear you. Yeah, I don't have any pressing shit to talk about either, so... Yeah,
pressing shit, that feels like my bathroom situation.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right. All right, yeah, so for all the people